stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
All right, everybody. Well, what are you going to do but hang out here on the Thursday thick of it? I am your fine feathered bearded fella, Mr. GreenBean, and I will have Gunny here momentarily, I imagine, and Dom C is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour late. So for this little while, you get me. It's our little intimate time to hang out and talk about all the things that go bump in the night, maybe. But here we are to talk New York Jets football. I am excited, as many of you are, even if it's not the most positive excitement. It's still excitement. The potential for moves and news to take place is now in full effect. We are on day 4 of free agency, and here comes our first co-host. You ready, Gunster? All right, here he comes. Mr. Gunny is in the house. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's up, GreenBean? My bad on being a little late. Had to do a little restart again, but I'm here. Excited to be here. And, man, do we have a lot to talk about tonight, huh?
We really do. I mean, I'm just getting word here. I mean, I've been driving and doing stuff for the past hour and a half. So I just, pulled up at home, literally told my wife I'm not even coming in the house. I'm just going to go right in the back. And I drove down to the end of the driveway, got out, went in here, started the stream, and so I didn't hear any news. And then I'm looking, and it seems like we just signed 2 guys in the last little while, past couple hours. So 2 defensive tackles. I don't even know who they are, Gunny. So this is exciting. We get to figure that out together. Let me put the right background. There it is. So no worries on being late. I was late too. So it's just one of those days. We're good. Dom C, I said, as I mentioned to everybody, we'll be here in just a little while. For right now, you got me and Gunny. No problem. We can handle it, I think. So
we got this.
So number one, how you feeling overall? We got, the 2 days of the legal tampering period are behind us. Now we're in day 2 of official free agency. Ink is meeting the paper now. So how you feeling overall before we dissect the intimate details of all this?
I think the word I want to choose is cautiously optimistic, right? In terms of them trying to go ahead and fill some holes with individuals that potentially bring a high ceiling, but also could be a low floor kind of acquisitions, right? We're talking about guys like, bringing in Cisco, who's a guy who I think has some upside. He's a guy who's a ball hawk type of safety. Kind of pumped about that. The recent acquisition that they just made for the tight end, Stone Smart, a guy with the Chargers who I think had 280 or something like that plus yards receiving last year.
16 receptions last year.
Yeah, so a guy who can do a little bit of everything in terms of the receiving side, but I'm concerned, of course, about the blocking component, but that is what it is. And then, I think the biggest one of all is bringing in Justin Fields. Justin Fields is one of those guys who either you love him or you hate him. I know you've seen a bunch of Jets fans who feel like, Justin Fields could be the guy for us, and then some guys who are just like, this is a shit show. Why are we bringing him in here?
Waste of time, right?
Waste of time. Yeah. So it's either one or the other. So for me, I'm cautiously optimistic because I'm putting a lot of faith in what this coaching staff is going to be able to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like any of the quarterback options really in terms of, using a premium pick in this draft. So I think you bring in a guy like Justin Herbert and it could be a win-win. Can we unlock him and he becomes the next Baker Mayfield?
Herbert?
I mean, I don't know about Justin
I
Herbert.
was like, oh, wait, what do you got on that?
Maybe Baker Mayfield. Maybe he's the next Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who knows? Or he's trash. He's still Justin Fields. And then next year, we're in a position to draft a franchise guy. That's the way I'm looking at it. You know what I'm saying? But I guess time will tell. Time will tell.
I like it. I actually feel the same way you do. I wouldn't label myself a Justin Fields guy or anything like that, but I like the swing, Gunny. I like the potential. It's like a, high reward with low risk, because the risk is that we suck, but it just so happens to be going into a league year in 2026 that, the draft component is that it looks like it's gearing up to be a pretty strong quarterback class. So if it ends up that we just do what we do and we get 4 or 5 wins, then we're up higher. If there's a 5 to 6 quarterback draft, you're right in there to be able to grab one of these guys. And it's not the worst consolation prize. And then having Justin Fields as your backup quarterback for a year isn't the worst thing in the world. You could do a lot worse for your number 2 if he's if he's not the main guy and he's here for 2 years, and that's fine too. So real quick, Phil Adams, the Jets field is field turf. It's not grass. We haven't had grass in a very, very long time. The last time they tried to do grass, everybody, was when they did the pallets, the plates, they called them. So they would bring in this natural grass on these, 8x8 blocks.
Yeah.
And so the theory is that if a piece of it gets torn up, they could come in, just remove that one piece and replace it with a freshie. But it didn't work. The draining was bad. It ended up being really soft and shitty. And so anyway, that's the last time we tried it. But we've had turf ever since. They got a new field last year. And turns out it looks like it's much to do with the same old song and dance. They don't like it. So that's what we got. Well, let's say hello to some people. Bearded's in the house. Gangrene Catskills is in the house. Now, he says he likes the Stone Smart signing. I don't like it, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But I get it. My buddy Jake is in here. That's good. Hennessy Heisman in the house. So it's another DT. That's 2 in an hour. We got to look. I don't even know who they are, so we'll look at those guys. Let's see. Nick is in the house. Nick Rousseau. Milk thumbs, everybody. Don't forget to smash that like button. Squeeze the milk thumb. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel while you're here. That's important as well. It's a way that you can show, if you don't, not to put any financial investment, you can do those 2 things for free. It supports the channel in really, really more ways than you realize. With YouTube, just hitting that little button for subscribe and hitting the little milk thumbs, the little thumbs up does a world of difference with YouTube. And we greatly appreciate all who do that. Let's see. Flatbush Dre is in the house. Who else? JJ Hamza, not liking Justin Fields. He's made his opinion very, very clear thus far, but we'll see how he likes some of these other guys. I don't think he's too excited. And I think it's one of those situations, Gunny, where you're looking around, you're like, all right. I mean, whether or not, the cornerback is any good or the safety, it's one thing, but all the other guys, it looks like we're trying to fill out the depth of the team. Create some competition, things like that. Not the worst plan in the world, but it doesn't do much for you if you're looking to get excited. That's definitely not the phase we're in. After Justin Fields, like him or hate him, for everything else has been pretty much okay. I don't know what to do with this. Yeah. So we're used to some excitement, and maybe that's a good thing, Gunny. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we don't come out of the gate and win the offseason. Maybe we do that for a change. Try that on for size. You know what I mean? What do you think about that? You think maybe this is the year we don't win it, the offseason, and we actually do better? Maybe. What do you think?
I mean, they say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We've won the offseason the last 3 years. We've come out feeling good as Jets fans. We've heard the media telling us, man, the Jets did this and this and this in the freaking offseason. They've one step closer to being contenders, and we all see how that's resulted in complete and utter failure. So maybe this is the key. Maybe this time we lose the offseason, we complain about it, we're laughed at it, and then these guys actually play like a team and win some damn games. So, again, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Maybe we try something different and we'll see some different results this time around.
Yeah, I think, look, if there's anybody out there that's good at like spinning things and trying to make lemonade out of lemons, it's us. Right. So we're like, all right, well, maybe not doing anything in the offseason is the way to go. We'll see. So John comes on in and he gifts a Stream Beaner membership to one fine friend in the chat. Let's see who it is. Thank you so much, John. We appreciate the support. Who is it? Let's see who it is. I got to go open YouTube here. So Yeti. our good bud, gets the amazing love from our friend John. So thank you, John. Congratulations, Yeti. That's wonderful news. So let's take a look here and see. So let me talk about Stone Smart real quick. Here's why I don't like it. And I've shared this many times. You might know this, Gunny, but I'll say it again. I happen to subscribe to the idea that a tight end should be a good, very good blocker and should be a good receiver. Right now, you can be better at one than the other, and that's fine. But I don't like guys. He's 6'4", less than 230 pounds. So he's 226 pounds. So that's pretty much, I mean, he's supposed to be a pass catching tight end, but he only got 16 receptions last year. He had 11 the year before. So we're looking at a guy whose specialty is pass catching, receiving, and he's not really done much of that yet. I don't love it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like when you have to put one guy on the field that only does one thing. So when you run out, you trot your blocking tight end out there, and everybody knows, okay, well, this is going to be a play where he's in protection because you can't do anything else. And if you put a guy out there that's a liability as a blocker, okay, well, this guy's going out. That's what he's doing right now. I don't like that. Like, I think the tight end is, like, as I've shared, is my favorite position in the whole sport of football because of its versatility, because of what that individual can do. They can be the sixth offensive lineman, and then they can peel off and be that amazing safety outlet for the quarterback. And then in addition to that, they're usually, I like guys that are 245 plus, 250, 255. Once they get that ball in their hand, you got a bunch of 5'10" defensive backs running around out there, and they're hard to take down. So I love those three facets of the tight end position. But here's the real reason I hate it. This is likely the indicator that my buddy, my boy, my favorite, Kenny Yeboah, is not in their plans. And that upsets me. I was really holding out hope. Number one, would you agree that this kind of marks the end of the Kenny Yeboah era? And how do you feel about Smart overall? Oh, you're muted, bud. I thought you were quiet while I was ranting.
Sorry about that. I wouldn't say it's the end of the Yeboah era, in my opinion, only because you said several things that make perfect sense, right? In terms of him being a receiving tight end that hasn't really done much receiving over the last couple of years. Now, you love the age, right? You love the fact that this is a guy who had a lot of production at the collegiate level. And you love the fact that, hey, this is a guy who, in terms of when he did make plays, he did have some pretty decent yards after the catch. He made a high percentage of his catches when targeted. But then you got to ask yourself, like, why wasn't he utilized more? You know what I'm saying? This is a guy coming from Justin Herbert, which is a really, really good NFL quarterback. You talk about freaking being coached over there by Harbaugh, you know what I'm saying? A really, really good coach. And you still didn't see them kind of get, I guess, the max you could out of the guy. So it definitely leaves a lot to wonder. And because it leaves so much to wonder, you got to wonder if this is just a guy you're bringing in, you know what I'm saying, for a training camp, and maybe he makes a practice squad. I still think they're in that realm of probably drafting, you know what I'm saying, their tight end. I don't know if they're completely out on Tyler Conklin yet. I would hope they still make a push for Tyler Conklin, because right now, as the way as it looks, it's this guy, you know what I'm saying, and then you got Ruckert, and then I would think you keep Yeboah. I think Yeboah would probably be the best blocking tight end of the group. And like you said, you want your tight end to be able to do a little bit of both. So I wouldn't say Yeboah is out of the picture. I think you bring this guy in much more for competition than being the guy who's going to take somebody's spot. Because, like you stated, 6'4", 227. The guy weighs less than I do, 227 pounds. That's just a big slot to me, right? He's not fast enough to be a wide receiver. He's not small enough to be, the traditional slot. But you put him in the big slot, but the guy can't block. So I feel like unless we're going to see some creative play calling to maximize his ability or his use, I feel like more so this might be just a training camp body, somebody who makes the practice squad. I just don't see how you come back from Justin Herbert and Harbaugh and not maximize your potential with those guys, and that you're going to come here with Justin Fields and a rookie offensive coaching staff and maximize it in our scheme. So again, I'm looking at that one more so as a camp body, maybe a practice squad guy.
Well, do we? So we don't have any numbers on him yet, right? So we don't know what it is. I mean, maybe you're 100% right. We're just bringing him in. He wouldn't be a qualifying free agent, so he's not really impacting the, in the the comp pick formula or anything like that. And maybe he's just a body. He's just a guy. We like him a little bit. Let's bring him into camp, compete, and see where it goes. I wouldn't have an issue with that. But anyway, I like your point of view there. I hope that's the case. I mean, look, anybody we bring in, I'd really love to believe that they're going to be the
100%,
the gold nugget, but I don't know if that's the case with Stone Smart. So we also signed defensive tackle Byron Cowart. 7 games for the Bears last season, had 2.5 sacks. Played in 15 games, but started 7 games for the Bears. That's as long as he played. 6'3", 300 pounds. Let's see. 14 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. What else we got on this guy? Not much. He was drafted by the Pats in the 5th round in 2019. And he's career at Auburn, played 3 seasons for them, and then 1 year at Maryland. Started 21 of 51 games he's played, and he has 67 total tackles, 10 of those for a loss, and 3.5 sacks, 7 quarterback hits in his whole career. What do you think about this one? Any thoughts? I mean, again, I'm just getting to know him over here. I don't even know that name. I'm not even familiar with this guy, Gunny.
I don't know this guy at all. He doesn't seem to be a big enough fatty for me to be excited about, plugging up the middle. So I really don't know. I mean, he's been playing the league for how long? You said like 4 years?
Since 2019. So that would be 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 6 years. Let me look at his stats here. Hold on.
6, yeah.
Byron Cowart.
Stats.
Let's see what we got here. Jesus Christmas. Wait, Byron Cowart. Stats. Let's see, Gunny. Let's see what we got, huh? So, really, well, he looks like he didn't play in 2021. Maybe he did the COVID thing. Not sure. He didn't play in 2023 either. So, interesting career. He played in 2019 and 20, then 2022, then 2024. Weird.
That's very weird.
So, like you said, he's 300. But that's right on the bottom end of what I call a big fatty. I like 335 plus, maybe. That's what I'm looking for. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, again, competition. Again, we got to see these numbers. I'm not really sure, it all looks like.
51 total games played in his career, 60 total tackles, 26 of them being solo with 34 assisted, 3.5 sacks, and 1 pass defended. So, I mean,
he's got 10 of those for tackles for a loss. Remember, he's a defensive tackle, so a little bit lower.
You
know what? I'm going to look at his PFF because they have an incredible. Like again, I'm really take PFF with a grain of salt, of course. But one of the stats that I really like are the defensive stops, right? Because that's something like a defensive tackle clogs the line, stuffs it all up. The running back has nowhere to go. So he bounces it outside. The linebacker cleans it up, and he gets credited with it. So the defensive tackle, it's like he did nothing. So I do like that stat. That kind of accounts for that. Like, hey, without this guy, the tackle doesn't happen. So let's take a look at his PFF grade each of these years. All right, overall, for 2024, he had a 58.9, not something you want to call your mom and tell her all excitedly. It's pretty even, 60.7 pass rush, 60.1 run defense. Let me see defense. So listen to this, though. He also had 17 stops. So that's,
oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So you could, not that it's guaranteed, but you could add that to his like tackles, like he's the reason that the play got blown up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I see that.
That's pretty interesting. Stops. He played 335 total snaps. 178 of those were run defensive snaps, and 156 were pass rush snaps. So we also add, so again, that 17 stops. He also had 7 hurries, 2 quarterback hits, and 12. So that's 12 total pressures in the 4 years that he played. I'd really love to know why he didn't play 21 and 23. That's kind of odd, no? You're muted again, bud.
Was he injured? You think he was injured maybe? 21 and 23?
I guess that's possible. I'm not really sure. Let me
But
see what
it would have
says.
still said 21 and 0 games, right? It would still say 0 games and 0 games usually.
Yeah, so it doesn't really say.
Byron Cowart injury.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Let's see what everybody else thinks about it. Let's go to the bottom here. Let me catch up with some of you fellers. John says, I want Yeboah back. Yeah, me too. He's not one-dimensional, man. No, he's not. He's a great blocker, and he's got fantastic hands. What are you talking about, Cardoza? What is Cardoza talking about? He's fucking drunk.
I wouldn't say fantastic hands, but he's got hands.
He was a wild. Listen,
I would say Yeboah is definitely is definitely multidimensional. You could use him as a blocker and as a pass catcher.
But I'll tell you what. Granted, his opportunities were very low, but he never dropped a single pass. Now, last year we had he caught everything thrown to him except for the obvious wide open touchdown last year that Aaron Rodgers sent him, and then he threw it into his ankles.
Yeah,
not Yeboah's fault. I mean, I think we all agree on that. Not to say I'm not trying to spin it. It's just very true. He told him to. He literally pointed him upfield. He broke the route, went upfield. It was a sure touchdown, and he threw it into his feet. So I don't know what to tell you.
I think Aaron Rodgers just didn't want Yeboah to be his 500th touchdown. That's why he did that.
Isn't that some fucking bullshit?
I really believe that. Like I do. No, I really believe that's what happened. He said it, then he thought to himself, man, this guy, is he who I really want to be my 500th touchdown?
So
I'd rather
crazy.
get it to the – and I think that's why he threw it to his feet because that was an easy touchdown. Like it was leaning out in front of him. He had plenty of space. There was no pressure on you. But like
it was a pitch and catch.
It was a pitch and catch.
Like,
easy day.
Yep. And he sent him. Like he actually went, like, go, like break off your route and go upfield. And he threw it into his damn feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you going to do? I'll tell you. So I don't know. I just don't, look, it's like Simpson last year when we signed Simpson. Not a lot of people were paying attention to, the guard Simpson's career. We didn't really know much about him, and I think most Jets fans were like, oh man, Joe Douglas is going cheap again and all that stuff. And he turned out to be pretty damn solid for us. So I think we all ended up being happy about that signing. So you never know. But again, when it comes to tight ends, I really am I am one who needs my tight ends to be 2-dimensional as opposed to 1-dimensional. I don't know. I don't like it when you devote a position to a guy who's only blocking, and then you got to devote another position to a guy who's only pass catching. I just don't like it. The Jets in the 90s and early 2000s did that a lot, and I just don't love it, Gunny. That's just my.
Yeah, I mean. You also, like you said earlier, it kind of gives away the element of surprise when you get that guy out there. The defense gets a read like, oh, freaking, the Stone is out here. They're passing. He's not. It's not a run. He's going to pass. So yeah, the element of surprise, you know what I'm saying, gets taken away when you have a guy who is 1-dimensional. And I think a guy like Stone here, it just looks like that's going to be the case. Like he's going to be the guy you throw out there when you need a catch. And again. Kind of sucks because now the defense knows what's coming.
Right. It's like when, how many times we watch it, even like the different offensive coordinators, LaFleur did it, Hackett did it, and Downing did it. When it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, what do? They come out with an empty backfield. Why? I can't imagine. It would be like 1% of my 3rd and 1s that I did something like that. And we did it consistently. Isn't that frustrating? It's like, why would you've told them we're not even considering running
the run? Yep.
Silly.
We made defense's job very easy.
We really do. We've done it. I tell you, there's no wonder, man. Red Bean checking in. Oh, I like that name, buddy. That's a pretty good one. We need Gorlock the Destroyer for the D line. Google it for a giggle. You don't even need to put this on the screen. I just did that. Gorlock the Destroyer. That's exactly what I'm looking for the defensive line. Did you see it, Gunny?
That's
That's what I need. Red Bean's not that. He's not that far off course. Actually,
Yeah, you're right. That would definitely be that big fatty you want right in the middle to go
what
ahead
we want.
and stop the runs. You know what I'm saying? Plug the hole.
Yeah,
that would
that's
get
what
it
we're
done.
looking for. I like that, Red Bean. Not bad.
Well played, Red Bean.
So who's the other defensive tackle? So it says, all right, here's our free agent class as it stands here. Let me see. 2025 free agent tracker. So we got Justin Fields. We re-signed Jamie and Sherwood. You happy about that, Gunny?
Yeah, I'm happy about that. I mean, I feel like we might have overpaid a little bit, but in terms of paying one of your own guys, showing a guy that you put in the work, you're going to go ahead and get taken care of. I definitely appreciate that. They already has continuity with, the core of the defense and Quincy, and of course with Quinnen, with Sauce Gardner. So you kind of keep, core components together. So I get it. I think we paid a little bit more than he's proven to be. And again, he's only done this for 1 year. 1 year we saw him go off last year, and we gave him a really, really big, a fat contract. But I'm happy we did it, because it sets the precedent that, hey, do your job here. We're going to take care of you. So I am a fan of that signing.
All right. So, well, and then connected to that, we let CJ Mosley go. We finally released CJ Mosley. We're going to eat his entire dead cap, $16.8 something million.
Yeah. That's
and we're
weird
splitting it. So how do you feel about CJ, Gunny?
It was weird. And I get it, man. CJ is definitely a little long in the tooth. You know what I'm saying? And this is a guy who's fought through injuries to go ahead and be on this team, a guy who wanted to come here and help turn this franchise around. Hey, CJ, I got nothing but love for him, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I was upset to see him go. I just didn't think it made much sense if you wanted to play, especially since there's really no savings to be had by cutting him, right? Like if you weren't going to actually save any kind of real money by cutting him, then I didn't really see the need to let him go. But they chose to let him go, man. So I guess it is what it is. He'll be missed. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he did wonders for the development of Quincy and of Jamian. I think he had a huge, role in that. They've even said as much.
And
in
Quincy,
terms of
both of those guys.
So
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I would have rather kept him on the roster if you wanted to keep playing. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's going to be in a limited role. But he's gone now, and nothing we can do about it. And I'm upset about it. But again, they're trying to start new. They're trying to go ahead and get some young blood in there. You can tell by a lot of these signings, they've all been, 26, 27 years old and under. So they're definitely trying to go younger, maybe even faster, it looks like. Hate to see CJ go. It doesn't make sense to me. But at the end of the day, we're putting it all in Aaron Glenn's hands to do right by the team. So got to trust in Glenn for now.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's sad, but you can't deny he's lost a step. And let me tell you something. We're not talking about, a strained hamstring here. He had neck, back, and head injuries last year. Like it's, at 32, I think he is. Yeah. 32 years old. He clearly lost a step as it was. Even when he was healthy, he was still impactful. He was still good, but, not quite what he was. And then he gets those types of injuries. So I do understand it. We did designate him a June 1st cut. So we're going to eat about 8.7, I think it was this year, and then 7.8 next year. And then he gets a nice parting gift, much better than the porcelain frog at Wheel of Fortune. He got a $4.2 million check as a parting gift. Not too bad, Gunny. I'd like one of those.
Yeah.
One.
Just one in my lifetime. Just one.
Oh, man. Well, just one. That's all I want. If I had one of those, man, you would probably know very, very quickly that I no longer have a job. You know what I mean?
Without question. Without question.
Yeah. So who else we got here? So we got Stone Smart, who we talked about a little bit. Smart became a Chargers fan favorite last season when he caught 13 passes in a 4-game stretch. So 16 catches, 13 were in 4 games. So what the frig did he do the rest of the year?
Yeah, see?
It wasn't enough to convince the team to tender him as a restricted free agent. He's an interesting project because he didn't play tight end until his senior year at Old Dominion. Prior to that, he was a quarterback. So 6'4", 226, and speed topped at 20 miles an hour on next gen. He's a receiving tight end, but still developing. So, all right, if they feel confident, you got to, like just like you're saying, I think there's some of it that we got to just trust. It's just, these are noobs. They don't know. They're new. We don't know what their tendencies are. We don't know what the coaching staff's ability to develop will be. Maybe we can do that, Gunny. Maybe we got a staff that can develop
That's a
some
good point.
guys.
I mean, Zachary says the reason why is because Will Dizzy got hurt, so he got to play as a starter in those 4 games. And then when he came back, he went back to the bench apparently.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I mean, so in a very short window, he was a starter and he put up numbers like that. 13 receptions. How many yards did you say? Did you say how many yards?
Well, no, it said the 13 catches were in a 4-game stretch. Doesn't
4-game
say the
stretch.
yards.
Okay.
So all right, go on. I'm sorry.
I just don't know, man. Like for a tight end to be that, and I just saw Sean put it 226 pounds. You're a big wide receiver, man. You're freaking you're Lazard, but shorter. You're a shorter version of Alan Lazard, like in terms of like weight. So
right.
I don't know, man. It's just like you said, for a tight end, that's I don't know. I guess the transition from quarterback to tight end was easier than quarterback to wide receiver. Maybe that's the reason why he went that route. But the 226 really worries me. You know, if he was like 240 at 6'4", you feel better, right? But at 226, man, that's just awfully light.
Yeah, I just don't like. I mean, it's. But again, if he's like in their mind a project. Like, okay, we like this and this about him, but we know we got to develop this, and they feel like they can do it, and they, all right, well, okay, let's see how it goes. But I don't know. I'm feeling like I might prefer somebody with a little bit more affirmed ability. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So, okay, we talked about Byron Coward a little bit. What it says here is that he's going to be reunited with Coach Eric Washington, defensive line coach. So that's good. They have a little bit of familiarity. If the coach already likes him, that's something that's in his favor. They know exactly what they're getting. He made 22 run stops in 324 snaps, an above average run stop rate of 6.8%. Rotational piece, and the price was relatively modest. So I don't know what the price was. How about here's the other defensive tackle, Jay Tufele. Let's see about Jay Tufele, everybody. 25 years old. Where is it? Let's see what we got here. From the he's a Polynesian. I love having some Polynesians.
Oh, me too.
Around,
I'm a fan. Yep.
Now, his overall PFF grade for 2024, Gunny, you ready for this?
What is it?
44.4. Not good at all. A little bit better in the pass rush than the run defense. 6 solo
only
tackles.
305 pounds.
Right. So he's got 5 on the other guy, but
5 on the other guy.
6 total tackles or solo tackles, 1 sack, 8 assists. He had 3 stops, 3 hurries, so 4 total pressures. Played 242 snaps last year. So let me see if he's got a 2023 any better. Nope. 5 tackles. Let me see. Did he do anything in 2022? No. Oh, yeah, a little bit better pass rush grade. So 68.9. I don't know. So this is another guy, kind of. It says another Muji special from the discount aisle. They're calling him. The strategy is clear. Attack each need with quantity over quality. I don't like it. So then we re-signed a guy that I'm being told is the right pronunciation of his name is Yamin Davis. I call him Jammin Davis, who I actually liked him coming out, linebacker. Right. And I mean, I don't know. Let's see. He's 26 years old. I actually like him, but he's going to be at the bottom end. He's going to be battling with Zaire Barnes and, whoever else we bring in. Let's see. Why not take a chance? It says he was a first rounder 4 years ago in 2021. So let me see where he was NFL draft real quick. Any thoughts on Jammin Davis?
I mean, yeah, I think you're another one of those guys you look at and you're like, maybe a camp body. Maybe there's something that you hope the coaching staff can kind of like get out of him. Maybe Wilkes sees him and thinks to himself, he can go ahead and find a way to extract more out of the kid. But again, young guy, 26 years old, right? You still got some wiggle room in terms of getting him there. But again, I think the bargain bin shopping aspect has been right on the money, right? Like in terms of the ones we're bringing in. even a guy like a Justin Fields, who a lot of us have question marks about whether or not he can play quarterback, you know what I'm saying, at a high enough level with his arm, because we know he's got the elite legs. Like this has been, again, has been a home run or a knock him out of the park type of free agency, which may be a good thing since that method hasn't really worked for us the last few years. So it's just, again, time will tell. But yeah, like there's not a lot to really look at in terms of Yamin Davis and think to yourself, oh yeah, we crushed it on that one. Like I think it's gonna be can they unlock some potential out of the kid? Yeah, we'll see. But overall, just a quiet addition to the roster.
Yeah, so he was the 19th overall pick in 2021. He was taken by the Washington football team at the time, right after Jalen Phillips and just preceding Kadarius Toney. Guys of note after him, on the defensive side of the ball, Kwity Paye. Let's see, Peyton Turner, Eric Stokes, Gregory Rousseau, taken at pick 30. Odafe Owe from Penn State, defensive end, and Joe Tryon. Remember him? We all liked him, but he was the last pick.
Yeah, last pick.
Remember that? Joe Tryon. But anyway, so, who knows? He's got first-round pedigree. Bring him in here and, see what this defensive staff can get going with him. So then we signed center Josh Myers. He was the starter for Green Bay. We gave him a $3.5 million contract, Gunny. So he effectively nullified the Solomon Thomas 7th-round comp pick. So he took that off the board for us. So we won't get a 7th for Solly. But what Jets fans are doing, it's interesting. I'm really curious to hear what you think about this whole thing and where you land. Signing him, a lot of Jets fans went right to the idea, because he's a pure center, that means Tippmann's moving over to guard, which means ABT's moving over to tackle, which makes another one of our Okafor signings like, okay, good. We just got depth behind ABT. So now our line would be Fashanu, Simpson, Myers, Tippmann, AVT. How do you feel? Like, do you feel like that's what we're doing here? Or is this just a guy, hey, he replaces Wes Schweitzer and he's back up to Tippmann? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think he's the backup to Tippmann. Listen, you don't want to mess with that core youth group in terms of ABT, Tippmann, Simpson, and of course Olu. These guys last year, once they implemented Olu and they got rid of Tyron Smith, the offensive line graded as a top 10 unit. And this is a bunch of young guys trying to gel together in season with a quarterback that's a statue behind them. And they graded as a top 10 unit after Tyron Smith got out. You don't mess with that. You don't mess with that kind of chemistry.
I agree.
Those guys put in a year together. I think you're bringing him in purely to back up Tippmann. We've seen this AVT move before. We all know what happened when you move AVT to right tackle. Yes, he can play it. He played it actually good. Unfortunately for him, it caused injuries in back-to-back years doing it. I think it's ridiculous for us to even consider it. And I would hope this coaching staff watched it and said, hey, man, you did great at right guard. We know you can play right tackle, but we're not going to risk getting you injured again and then adding an additional hole to this offensive line.
Right.
You keep your studs where they're at. You go ahead and find a right tackle that might be good, might be bad, but at least, you know what I'm saying, we've got a right-handed quarterback who can see the pressure coming from the right side if the right tackle is trash. So you make sure you secure the middle and the left tackle position, that blind spot. And I think you can live or die a little bit in struggling with the right tackle. But no, I don't think you're moving ABT. I don't think you're moving Tippmann, who graded out as one of the top 5 center in the league last year, to put in a guy like Myers, who, by the way, is not really that good of a center, right? You can put him in as a spot center here and there.
Graded as 20th out of 33. It looks like here.
He's not a good. He's not even an average center. So not the guy you want to go ahead and replace the top 5 center with. That doesn't make any sense. So I don't think that's happening. He's purely a backup. You know what I'm saying?
But I'll tell you what, as far as a backup, about as good as you're going to get. He's an 100%. NFL starter.
Yep.
Let's bring in the guy who just arrived a few minutes earlier than I expected him. Let's see what he thinks about this one. Let's say hello to the one and only Dom C. Everybody.
Dom C. What's good, my guy?
Sorry, guys. Parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah, we get it.
How'd it go? Was it a good report or what?
Yeah, my 9-year-old, my 3rd grader, he is he's like the teacher's pet. That's just his personality. Like,
Right.
the one to take his jacket off and lay it in a puddle if a lady's walking by, so on and so forth. And my daughter, my 11-year-old, is spitting piss and vinegar at anyone who looks her way. You know what I mean? She's 11 going on 21. So
I know what that feels like.
yeah,
My
man,
12-year-old's just like that.
it's
Amazing.
the girls are different. Like my boys are just like, and the girls like, ah.
That's funny. She's the middle child.
She is.
There you go. Well, Dom, we're happy to have you. I'm glad it went well.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm late, but
no, of
buddy,
course,
you
good
good.
stuff happens.
You're good. So, Dom, I'm sure you caught the tail end of that. We're talking a little bit about Myers. A lot of Jets fans, particularly on Twitter and some other places, immediately upon signing him, jumped to the conclusion that this must mean that our solution at tackle is ABT because we're going to move Tippmann over to guard, which he can play. He's played it for us, but he's played it elsewhere as well in college.
Mhm.
So bringing in a starting center, maybe not the best, but he's pure center. You get a starting center from Green Bay, and then your line is effectively fixed. What do you think about this?
Well, I think differently than both of you.
Oh, wow. There's only two sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like you guys aligned.
We do.
In what I was listening. Yeah. And listen, and here's the thing. And I'm gonna preface by saying this. I don't think that Josh Myers is automatically the be all end all fix. We just move everyone over to the right, and it's the 1980s Cowboys line again. No, that's not what I'm saying. My stance on it is, and you guys know me, and I've kind of stood on 10 toes on this, that I think Joe Tippmann is a good center. He's fine at center. I think he could be a really good guard. I think that his skill set is better when he's in space, moving in space, getting them out, peeling off and peeling off and leading on those screens, walling off at the second level, helping out, getting those duo blocks and him being nimble and athletic and agile enough to bounce off of those and get into another block. Where Joe Tippmann struggles is in a phone booth with a big old 330-pound, 6'2" nasty guy on his, helmet to helmet, tete-a-tete. And the reality is, we don't like to talk about this, but it's the truth, is that the whole question about having a 6'6" center is true. He loses the leverage battle. He's not a people mover, and that's mainly because everyone that he's going up against in a one-on-one situation, for the most part, is lower and getting under his pads. So that's why you don't see him drive block, and that's why you see him lose those, not really moving people, displacing defensive linemen. I think he does a better job in movement, and which for me, I think he would be an even better guard than he is center. Now, the whole AVT to tackle thing, I think Gunny hit it very eloquently. We know that he can do it. We know. I'm not going to say he's a better tackle than he's a guard. I think he's fine at both. I would think, and this is just, there's nothing based behind this. Is just my gut opinion. Like, AVT's fighting for a contract, right? You think if he has a good season at right tackle, there's a chance that he can get paid a pretty penny more on that second deal, whether it's by the Jets or somebody else,
Right.
than he would at guard. I don't know. But and then again, you look back at this, this day and age, the contracts were so inflated, so much higher than everyone has been used to or expected. But my concept is bring in the best five, play the best five, and if that means you draft the right tackle somewhere along the lines and you plop him in and he competes with the guy we got from the Patriots, so be it. If it means you draft a guy like Jared Wilson, a true center, or Wyatt Milam, a guy who's going to play center, Marcus Bowe, these guys that are interior linemen that are going to probably play center at the next level, or can play center at the next level in the third, fourth, fifth round, and let them compete with Myers and move everyone over. If that's your best five, so be it. That's how I feel.
But do you feel like it's likely or just like it's possible? Like that's
no, I don't think it's likely. I don't think anything's like. I don't think we can say anything is likely right now, especially how strategically, whether you like it or you're pissed off about it, how Muji has been navigating this free agency period. I don't know what you can, at least if nothing more, he hasn't really shown his cards on what the plan is. The plan, is right in, and I was talking to a bunch of people before, is this a rebuild or is this a retool? Like,
Right.
I think it's the same thing. I think he's rebuilding a roster that the previous regime kind of, left a lot to be desired with in terms of finances and contracts and 1-year deals. You got to remember, we had to fill like 34 spots in this roster.
Yeah. Right.
So, I and we all know that the way not to do it is what McCagnon did, and just toss all this money around free agency and bring in the best, pay the Jets tax, bring in the high paid guy and try to plug in holes. That doesn't work either. So, I think this is rebuilding, but not from the bring it down to the studs rebuilding. Like, he's targeting very low risk, young players. Probably a lot of them are 1-year deals that'll probably plug holes until, he can put his basic guys. He's trying to build a real solid base of guys. Now, will these defensive tackles that he signed tonight be part of this team next year? I would guess not. But you got to put bodies on the field. You have
Right.
roster holes to fill, right?
Yeah. And I know, and my focus on like the comp picks is really interesting because we came out of the gate so hot, like in that area. We're not used to seeing that. Like guys like Kinlaw and Reddick and even Moses, like they got contracts that were just so much larger than we thought they were going to be, that I got excited. Like, holy shit, maybe we can actually be the team that comes around next year's draft and we have a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th, like maybe something like that. And we are sitting right now with just Hassan Reddick's 4th round pick floating around out there. Like I said, Josh Myers took away Solomon Thomas's. So DJ Reed was taken away by Justin Fields. Javon Kinlaw's amazing contract, Gunny,
was taken away by Stevens, right?
Well, right, was taken away by Stevens. Morgan Moses's contract was taken away by Andre Sisco, Myers, Solly, and then we lost 2 other guys that don't count. Probably because of playing time.
Salary, it's salary as well. So
yeah, but 2.5 would qualify.
I don't believe so. I could be wrong, but I think it's 3. It's 3.5, and the reason I know this is because Myers got like 3.55.
Yeah, we should have given him 3.49.
He was just a little C hair over the line, or else he wouldn't have qualified. But
yeah, but
I think that number also has to do with there's other factors involved. Another year of tenure or insurance, through after the league. There's certain thresholds which will affect them after they're done playing as well. So
right, and also another threshold that is impactful is whether or not they make a Pro Bowl, an All Pro, like all that kind of stuff. They wait until till all that's decided until they really assign the value. This is all like predictive, but both Ashton Davis and Brandon Eccles don't qualify for comp picks, so Jamin Davis, who
he was on our roster. So
we picked him up, but he doesn't qualify either. He does go on the acquired list. Correct. But anyway.
Well, he was on our roster to end the season. He was on the practice squad.
Yeah. So what do you think of Jamin Davis? I know it's I'm learning now. It's Yamin.
Yamin. Yeah.
Oh, I like Jamin. What the fuck are you talking about?
He came out of college and he had he has good draft pedigree. I think it was like a top 20 pick, somewhere along those lines. He played at Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. He was the first all-fall linebacker taken that year. He had 19. He had a lot of promise. Now he struggled to get a fit. So the thing with him is in college at Kentucky, he played more of a kind of like a Leo or a Rover, kind of like what Micah Parsons does. Now, he's technically a linebacker, but he didn't play like true middle like Mike linebacker. Like he did a little bit of roaming. He blitzed off the edge. He did a bunch of stuff. So Washington drafted him and brought him in and tried to force him into a true middle linebacker role. And I don't think that worked out. The last year before they cut him, they converted him into a strictly an outside linebacker, like an edge rusher. And that didn't work out, and they just cut ties. So for the Jets, it was, zero risk, high reward. And I think that he'll find a role. Like he's super athletic, super fast, and still, again, young enough and still learning the position. So, if there is a role for him as a depth piece or even as like a third linebacker in a base 4-3, playing that weak side linebacker where he's asked to, to scrape and shed and scrape across the line, backside, so on and so forth. I think he could probably find a home there. He'll be a guy that plays a lot of special teams, and he's a depth piece, a cheap depth piece that's young. What's the what you look at everyone other than Stevens, who's 28, everyone's 24, 25, 26,
right?
Young guys that are some of them coming from down years, right? Stevens, everyone's yapping very much so about Stevens and his, how bad he was. And frankly, like, I didn't watch him, so I'm going to go with what everyone says. I know that he was the most targeted cornerback in the league last year, led up 70% of the, receptions thrown his way, like not a great year, but there's obviously a skill set that he has. I know that he's very stout defensively, versus the run. I know that he's got man coverage skills. He was a converted safety. He actually started, he was on the offensive side of the ball, drafted, last year of college, played safety, drafted as a safety, and then they moved him outside because he's super athletic, super long, super athletic, stout against the run, and a guy that, remember, Wilkes loves to blitz, do those exotic blitzes. He's a guy who's going to come off the corner all the time.
So he might fill in perfectly for that. If he's not, like you said, it didn't really work out as a kind of a hit, that pass rushing being his focus, but that was done to him because he does show ability to do it. So as a blitzing linebacker, maybe a whole different level.
Correct.
So that'd be nice. Now I want to point out, Jay-Z Jets fan, that's a great comment. I was talking about Jamin Davis being a first-round pedigree, and he said Zach was a first-round pedigree too. So that's a good point.
That is a fair point.
A sobering point, we like to call that. Bearded VT are checking in, says Myers was field center in Ohio.
He was.
Good backup. So, hey, man, we are really stacking it up with the Ohio State. I love the fun little play on this called the New York Jet Eyes, like Jet Eyes, like Buckeyes. Yeah. I like it. I think that's got a ring to it, man. We could do something with it.
Did you see my tweet today, GreenBean? It was one of my favorites.
I didn't check Twitter almost all day.
I'm gonna
ear holes.
I'm gonna pull it up and I'm gonna share it for you because I think you'll appreciate it. Hang on one second.
It was hilarious. It was his mock draft for the New York Jets. I thought it was quite entertaining.
Let's see what he pulls off here. I'm very curious.
Present, share screen, bada boom, bada bing, and share. It's not sharing. Oh, here it is. No, it's not coming up.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, why? Oh, hold on. I know why. Hold on. Right. There you go. So, all right, let me get Bearded. Thank you, Bearded. Let's see. All right. So Dom C says 12 personnel. Well, all right, so we're
no, right, right here.
Okay.
Look at the draft. Look at the mock draft, buddy.
Abuka, yeah, I love it. Okay, well done. It's not even bad. I actually like it.
It's obviously meant in jest.
Yeah, right.
But funny.
If we do something like that, we're definitely going to be the Jedis this year, man. I'll tell you. Not too bad. Now, Okafor was an Ohio State guy too, if I remember correctly. Is that accurate?
I don't know. Don't know that.
All right. So let me get to. I got a couple more super chats in the house, and I'll end the poll in a second. Get your votes in the poll. I'm really curious. We got how many we got on YouTube here? We got 230 on YouTube for another whole mess of people on Twitter here. Got about 188 on Twitter. So hello to everybody on X. I'm glad you're with us. Go ahead and give me a follow if you haven't already. That's appreciated. But we got, I don't know, we got a whole bunch of you guys that could still vote. I'm genuinely into hearing how you're feeling, what your impression of our offseason is so far. So Swamp Ranger checking in says, build this team to win in a slog fest. Need a mauler at right tackle and a beast at tight end. Big fat monsters at nose tackle and another defensive end who's built like Thor Bjornsson. Right, man. And you guys know who Thor Bjornsson is? Anybody remember?
No.
He was the mountain in Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I never watched an episode of Game of Thrones.
Oh, dude. Look,
Oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna get
What?
all Homer. I'm not gonna get all Game of Thrones Homer on you. But
Oh my gosh.
if you're looking for a show, it is such a worthwhile watch, man. Like, it's literally like among the greatest shows of all time.
I'm
Like,
so
truly.
envious of Dom right now because Dom, you get to do something that all of us who've watched the series wish they could do. Watch it again as if it's the first time we've ever seen it.
Yeah,
It's so amazing.
Everyone's
good.
got their thing, and Game of Thrones was never mine. I've also never watched what's that other one that Breaking Bad. I've never watched an episode.
Oh,
of
that's
Breaking
so good. But Game of Thrones is better.
Game of
Game of
Thrones is
Thrones
better,
is better.
100%. It's better.
Yeah.
But Breaking Bad is what about oh man, what's the name of it? Where the dude washes the money for the cartel and he winds up having to move to
so good.
Ozarks. the
Oh,
Ozarks.
yeah.
Ozarks, yes. The
So
first
good.
two seasons. The first two seasons I watched.
Oh, it gets even better.
It
That
gets
show
so
gets
much
even
better.
better.
Yeah.
So
But
much
but
better.
anywho, but that's who Thor Bjornsson is. So Swamp Ranger is a man after my own heart. I am of this thought. Now, look, when we talk about Mauler at right tackle, Gunny, you like the idea of the Jets pulling the trigger at 7 if Membu's available?
No.
Straight up.
I want Graham or I want Tyler Warren. I would like a
Graham, huh?
a potential stud at that position. Now I get it. Mauler is definitely intriguing, but I just feel like in terms of the right tackle position, we can find a guy later on in this draft class. I'm okay with a second rounder or a third rounder, but man, at 7, I don't know. That's a little gross for me. But if you give me Warren at 7, I actually am falling in love with that pick more and more every day.
Yeah, I still can't justify defense, especially when it's so deep. Like, there are guys that in the second and third round that and even beyond that I believe can come in right away and give you impact. Now, not
fair.
maybe the impact of Graham, but like, I just can't. I can't get my mind around pick 7 being Mason Graham. Not that I don't like the player, but I struggle. Tyler Warren, I've totally warmed up to. Ted McMillan, Jihad Campbell. So there's a little batch of guys there. I'm really hoping that they can figure out a way to trade back. I don't know if they'll do it or if they can do it, honestly.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my thoughts. But Dom, when
Yes,
you
sir.
talk about a Mauler, are any of these guys, is Membu or Will Campbell or Banks, any of these guys somebody you would label as a Mauler and worthy of maybe that 7th, or if we slide back a couple picks of taking in the first?
Listen, I mean, I'll talk about Campbell first. I think Campbell is a very, very plus in terms of run blocker. But again, I just don't see him lining up at tackle, at least, consistently in the NFL. To me, he smells, he smells, and he plays like a guard. And it's not just because of the short arms. It's not just because of the short wingspan. I just think his play style is better fit inside. So I'm going to take him out of the equation. Membu definitely has a little bit of nasty to him. Ariante Ursary from Minnesota, big old tackle, 6'5", 330 pounds. Like, he's got Mauler in him as well. Those are two guys that I think could be had. Obviously, I think Membu is worthy of a top 10 pick, talent-wise. Super athletic, super versatile. Like I said, he's his pass protection is unique. It's different. It's not very traditional. His movements aren't very traditional. He plays aggressive, so he doesn't, in terms of pass protection, you think of the the best technicians that we've seen, at the tackle position in this day and age. The Charles Cross or the oh my God, what is the guy? What Trent Williams and stuff like that, where they're set, and Olu even they're setting up, they're getting their base, and blah blah blah. They're hitting their spots and getting set. Whereas Membu's much more aggressive. Membu's going to get to you first. He wants to get hands on you first. So a lot of jump sets, a lot of just different footwork, but very efficient nonetheless. He's super, super athletic. He's a guy that I think can really handle an outside zone scheme very, very well. I think that's where he would probably shine. So yeah, I think his talent is worth the pick at 7. I necessarily am of the, I think I would rather go with one of the 2 skill position guys personally, in Tet McMillan or Tyler Warren, because I like that value of that guy. It's like I really do like Ariante Ursary. I really do like Ozzy Trapillo. Yeah. Guys like that later on. So but if they went Membu, the only thing I would be disappointed is that it's another top 10 pick on the offensive line. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world, but at some point you
got to figure it out.
You got to figure out how to get somebody later and turn them into an NFL starter. If 31 other teams can do it, God damn it, we should be able to.
And we've done it historically. It's just been a long time since we have. Yeah. Guys like Fabini and Slauson, come to mind. They're even Brandon
Fabini was
Moore,
what, a 4th rounder? Fabini?
Yeah, 4th rounder. So yeah, man. I mean, look, I tend to agree. I especially like when you look at a position like wide receiver, even though I do like some guys later. Obviously I've made a big thing about Nick Nash or, Ty Felton or even, what is it? Dante Thornton, guys, like I really like what they can bring, but the truth is that wide receiver falls off a cliff, in this draft. So if you're going to get one, and we need one or more, you got to do it early, man. Like you really do. Or you're talking about, in most instances, a developmental guy. Maybe he can have some impact, but they're going to need some development, So there are defensive tackles, there are tight ends, there are offensive linemen to be had later. The wide receivers, not that you can't get one, but there really is a drop off in the talent. So I'm a big fan of up front, or even in the second. There's still some. But I don't know. That's why I'm leaning skill position for that first pick. Before
you say that, one thing about the wide receivers, I have 7 wide receivers with either a first or a pure first or a pure second round grade.
Give me your firsts.
Tet McMillan is 1. Emeka Buka is 2. Luther Burden is 3. Jalen Royals from Utah State is 4. Jaden Higgins is 5, Matthew Golden is 6, and Trey Harris is 7.
Trey Harris. Love Trey Harris.
Correct. Those are the guys that I have full first or second round grades on. Now, Jack Besh is 8, and he's got a late second, early third grade in my grading scale. But even if you want to add him in, even if you want to take those 8, if the Jets plan to target a wide receiver to come in and bring in, you have to either use 7 or 42, if you don't trade back, obviously. But by the time they pick again at 71, they're all going to be off the board.
Right. So that's the danger. You don't want to do that. And Billy SBC says Myers is there in case anybody gets injured. The problem is he doesn't really play guard. Now, I'm of the thought that any center you can play guard, but that's not always the case. I think you're supposed to be. It's like I say, like tight ends, my tight ends, you got to block and catch. I mean, I don't give a shit. I don't want you. But like a center, you got to be able to move over and play some guard. And I think they all can in a pinch. But Myers is pure center.
Yeah. So there's another center just hit the market just a couple hours ago.
Who's that?
One of your favorites. Garrett Bradbury.
I was just going to say that I did see that. I didn't know that. I thought they were rumored to going to be releasing him. I didn't know that it happened.
They have released Garrett Bradbury.
And we could talk about Marcus Williams in a little bit too. I want to get to David Bruce, our buddy over there in the UK, I believe Scotland, if I got it correct, David Bruce. Good to see you and good morning. I think it's about 3:09 a.m. for David. So he says, I'm sort of okay with who we signed and not throwing money at an old vet. Good morning, guys. Well, I agree. It's like when we talk about Cooper Kupp, and it's like not to say that I don't still like these guys, but this is not the year, not the team to go out there and spend money on a guy that's like, the final piece, so to speak. You know what I mean? A guy that, you bring him in as your wide receiver 4, it rounds out your wide receiver group. Like, we're going young. We're shedding a lot of the older guys, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Morgan Moses, CJ Mosley, and the rest. We're letting them go. Solomon Thomas. We're going younger. We're flipping the house, as they say. So adding these guys, I tend to agree. Gunny, are there any older guys that you still hope the Jets would bring in, or are you totally fine with this youth movement that's going on?
Honestly, I think I'm feeling pretty good about the youth movement, man. I know there's some individuals who are saying guys like Cooper Kupp still being out there. You bring him in, he could at least teach some of these younger guys, you know what I'm saying, how to go about the game of football. But I just feel like his legs are dead, man. I feel like you brought in Cooper Kupp. You're not really bringing him in to go ahead and contribute, in my opinion, as a wide receiver, more so as a mentor. And at this point, why not just stick with Garrett Wilson, man? Garrett Wilson has proven to be doing it the right way. He's the veteran wide receiver in that room now, unless we retain Allen Lazard, which I don't think we will.
Oh, we're gonna. Hey, I'm telling you right now, Gunny, brace yourself. Clemens and Lazard are here, baby. That's who they're staying, Jets fans.
Yeah, I can see Clemens not going anywhere either. But no, I want to go the youth movement. I want to see what Malachi Corley can do. I think we need to definitely add some pieces in the draft. Now, if you want to bring in a young vet into the building, into the fold as well, I'm okay with that. I'm not even tracking who else is available wide receiver wise. So
not much. Hopkins went to the Ravens. I think that's a great place for him to go, man. I honestly believe that. I think he's older and everything, but he's still good. And just going to the Ravens are so well run. Like, he's a perfect piece, and that's the perfect spot for him. It sucks, like these guys, the Ravens are just so well built. It's like adding these guys, it just makes so much sense. But if you brought D-Hop over here, it's just going to be a big complaint fest and disappointment. That's all it's going to be.
How do y'all feel about Amari Cooper? He's still
that's one.
I would be okay with that.
If I'm sniffing around the Amari Cooper's cabin, I'm talking about a 3-year situation with him.
Same
2
here.
years minimum. Like, you bring him on, you don't bring him on as like that 1-year filler. You just say, okay, man, well, look, we're going to bring you on as the vet. You're going to be, you and Garrett Wilson are going to be the vets in this wide receiver room. And we're going to Malachi Corley. We're going to bring a guy in and do it that way. I would not be against that. I still like Amari Cooper. He's maybe not what he once was.
He may be washed. That's the reality. Remember,
what did he have last year? Let's take a look here.
Amari Cooper couldn't see the field with Buffalo towards the end of the year. They traded a 3rd rounder and a 5th rounder, I believe, to get him. And he was not very good. He might be washed. The cliff might have just come very, very quick for him. Remember, he was a 20-year-old coming in here. He's got 10 years of true NFL. Yeah, true NFL
around too.
That's a lot of miles. Yeah.
Well, he had 44 catches last year for the Browns and Buffalo Bills combined. 4 touchdowns. He had about 547 yards. So not not the Amari Cooper of old, but I'll take wide receiver 3 with 44 catches and 500 yards. I think that
you can get that from Allen Lazard.
I don't know if you can, Dom.
I don't know if you can either.
I don't know.
I think with a lot of drops you could. I don't know.
You can get it with Corley. Yeah, I'm still on the Corley train.
Same here. 100%. I have not jumped off that train yet. I'm 100% still on Malachi Corley.
Now, if they just figure out a way to, hey Dom, to bring your bow back, but let me ask you: do you think that the what the fuck's his name? Stone Steel? What's his name?
Stone Smart.
I gotta be honest with you.
Is he pushing Kenny off the roster, or is he camp fodder?
Well, Kenny's not on the roster.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like, any chance of him coming back? No.
I mean, listen. I gotta be completely honest and transparent. The first time I heard Stone Smite's name was today. So
Yeah, I don't know much about him either. He's 6'4", 226 pounds, can't block, and he's a pass catching guy. He's had 24, 25 catches the last 2 years.
So, fun fact: in college, you know who he was a quarterback. You know who?
Right.
You know who he threw passes to? Zach Kuntz, Old Dominion.
Nice. All right. Now he's going to take his job.
Yeah,
Ain't that a connection?
I love it.
Yeah,
All right.
we got two Old Dominion tight ends on our
amazing.
roster. What are the freaking odds?
What are the odds? It can't be good, everybody.
Yeah, I don't know if it's positive.
First team in NFL history to have two Old Dominion tight ends on the same roster. I don't like it. But
Herb
thank
Smith.
you, David.
Herb Smith's still out there as a tight end.
He's Noah Fant. Noah Fant is still.
They both came out together. Weren't they in the same draft, if I remember correctly?
I believe so. GreenBean.
Yeah, I think they were.
I believe so. So listen, I don't think
a second rounder or third round guy.
You haven't addressed the tight end room. There's going to be people that are brought in. I'm guessing that the spots that we haven't seen filled are going to get filled relatively early in the draft, so to me this is lining up like heavy offense early, fill in best available later, so it could be a Tet Mason Taylor start, or or a Membu Higgins start, Mason Taylor in the third round, something along those lines.
I like all of that.
Yeah,
that's good. We're gonna start with like Campbell, and who else don't I like? I'd have to look.
Yeah,
look.
We're gonna start with we're gonna start with a a high upside, low production defensive end at 7, and another nickelback, a nickel cornerback in the second round or something like that.
That's what it is, and no kicker. So all right, Wyatt's checking in with it's interesting. He only loves you guys. What is that?
Wyatt?
Excuse me. Appreciate you, Wyatt. Good looking out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What did you do? What did you do, GreenBean?
He only likes the handsome ones. That's
what it is.
There it is.
That's what it is. Shit. I'm a little long in the tooth, as they say, Dom. See?
Yes, sir.
That's what it is. But thank you, Wyatt. I appreciate the love and support. Danger Zone checking in says goat and goat and goat. What is that? A chicken? Oh, that's a salute. Okay.
Salute.
I thought that was a damn chicken. Maybe that's why that's what he's talking about. I'm like,
your eyes are going. You can't see nothing.
Yeah. Shout out to Dano, man. Check him out on Fridays at 9 p.m. on YouTube. I will shamelessly plug that for him.
Good let's get Dano's. Hold on a second here. Let's get Danger Zone. The link to Danger Zone in here. I'll drop it in the chat. I'll pin it up top. Give Dano some love. What do you think?
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Danger Zone. Let me see here. There it is. Oh, I haven't even subscribed yet. I'm sorry, Dano. Here, I'm going to drop the link to this bad boy in the chat. Let's give our buddies some love and hugs and kisses. Let me go. All right. I got to get it down here, and I'll pin you for a little while. How's that sound, Dano? You're a good man. Long time guy with us. He's part of the crew in my mind. You know what I mean?
I agree.
100%.
He hasn't asked me to come on or anything, but it's probably because I'm very intimidating, or because he's going younger. Just like he's like,
that's ageism, Dano.
Play it right, yeah, man.
That's ageism. You can't do that.
He's like, we're having a youth movement. I can't have you on. David Bruce checking back in says, I still hope we don't draft a quarterback until next year's draft. And yes, I'm in Scotland, but it's only 1:17. I can't get it right. Last time I said I was an hour the other way.
Only 4 hours? I thought it was 6. I thought it was 6 too.
Well, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, yeah, I thought it was. No, you're wrong, David. Did you not adjust your clocks for daylight savings, or whatever the hell this is? It's one thing I hope they finally we're talking about it. Like, can we stop? Why do we do this to ourselves? Like, oh yeah, by the way, change the clocks. As soon as you get used to it, nope, go back. I hate it, Dom. I hate it. But all right, let's continue our list of free agents. So we re-signed Isaiah Oliver. I think that's a good solid move. He plays nickel, he plays corner, he plays safety. So good versatile guy to have around. I mean, he didn't do anything, groundbreaking for us, but solid piece to have on, especially losing a guy like Eccles. But I think we're going to be. Well, let me ask you guys this. Gunny, I'll start with you. We saw DJ Reed go. We were all hoping that Brandon Eccles would be retained. He was not. He's now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So does this mean that they really like maybe JBC or Quantez Stiggers? Or does this mean that we're going to be bringing in, a mid-round, late round guy to develop? How do you see that? Is this a note of like a nod of confidence for the guys on the roster or otherwise?
Yeah, I would say you give the guys on the roster an opportunity, right? You saw those guys play last year in spot moments. I honestly think Stiggers specifically is going to be one of those guys that can potentially take advantage of this. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I was sad to see Brandon Eccles go. I thought that, he was worth getting a contract to go ahead and be the guy opposite of Sauce Gardner. I'm not a big fan of this. Is it not Bowers? What's that dude's name that we just brought in? No. The new cornerback. We're talking about the cornerbacks, right?
Oh, Brandon Stevens. Yes.
Stevens.
Well, no, I was saying like the fact that I'm sorry. Go on, Gunny. You left that. Yeah, I'm with you.
Corner. Yeah. So Brandon Stevens, I'm not a fan of it. I wanted Brandon Eccles to stay, but he's gone. So I would assume did I hear you right when you said cornerback? He said Stiggers, didn't he?
Yeah, I said, is this a nod that like, hey, we really like JBC and Quantez Stiggers as our depth pieces. We re-signed Oliver for, back of Michael Carter the second and whatever. He's versatile. But like, is this a nod to them or is it just like we're going to bring somebody else in,
Yeah, okay. I'm making sure I heard you right because then you said tight end. I was like, wait a minute, did I hear that wrong?
Did I say tight end? I'm sorry.
You just, when I was talking, you went to the tight ends room and I was like, wait a minute, I thought we were talking cornerbacks.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Hey, ageism.
Yeah, now I like the guys we have right now in the cornerback room. But again, for me, I would have preferred to have re-signed Eccles over signing this new guy that we just brought in. So Brandon Stevens, whatever his name is. I'm not a fan of what I saw. I see that he's potentially an impact guy when it comes to stopping the run. Maybe that's the reason why you go ahead and you bring in that corner because you're hoping he can help with the run defense. But in terms of his coverage skills, it leaves very little to like. So I think they might feel comfortable with that cornerback room enough to take a gamble on a guy you're going to bring in predominantly to maybe be the guy that helps, in stopping the run. So I think the cornerback room right now with Sauce Gardner being the top guy in that room, you feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have Sauce playing man against the other team's best weapon, which means the other guys have a little bit less work to have to worry about. One thing I like about Glenn's philosophy and then Wilkes is going to be that they're going to play a lot more man. We're going to really find out this season if Sauce Gardner is really him, if he's really that dude, because he's going to get a lot of opportunities to go ahead and lock up the other team's number one wide receiver. And I think that takes away a lot of pressure on the other guys that have to play defense in the secondary. So I think they're comfortable. Wouldn't surprise me if they go ahead and take a late round flyer and bring in some extra depth pieces into the building. But I don't see them doing much more in free agency or going early in the draft to go ahead and find a guy to play that number 2 spot.
Interesting. Okay. I want to end this poll. I'd like to believe that they feel really good about JBC and Stiggers. That's what I like to believe. I'm kind of, that would be neat to see it. It's like, okay, well, look, they both got, JBC's got 3 years on the rod. This will be his third, and Stiggers, this will be his second. And Aaron Glenn looked at him and goes, no, man, these guys got chops. We're going to run with them as the depth this year. That would be interesting to me. Man, not that you can't bring in another guy, but anyway. Let me end this poll. We got a lot more votes, so thanks everybody for contributing. When I said that, we had 139 entries, and now we have 241, so that's pretty killer. Almost everybody voted. I love that. We got 260 in the house on YouTube and another 200 and what is that, 22? Yep, on Twitter. So here's how it went. I asked you guys, how do you feel about our free agent period thus far? So with 34%, I'm just going to trust and wait and see. That's a good, healthy attitude. Not great, not terrible, 27%. We're on the right track, 25%. And this sucks. The new GM is lost, got 13%. So I think most of the Jets Nation right now is feeling, like, hey, let's give them a sec before we, fucking fall to pieces. So that's interesting. Let's get Wyatt in here again. He says, I'm driving home on leave. Well, good for you. You guys are keeping me company. The you was GreenBean. I love you. Oh. Also, we should prioritize defense in this draft. So that was to this comment. Let's see. Love you, Gunny. I see. I got love you, Gunny, and Dom. All right. I'm sorry, Wyatt. I'm sorry.
Misread.
I apologize.
Misread.
Yeah, that's good. And thank you for the clarification. I was feeling some sort of way. But so, Dom, what do you think? Wyatt thinks we should prioritize defense in this draft. Do you feel the same way? How do you see it?
I don't. And here's this is going to sound asinine, but this is what goes on up in this dome piece. All right. So the defense is the area that I think needed the most work in terms of roster, or in terms of roster construction. The more holes, the more starting holes, the more depth pieces needed, so on and so forth. Right. So, the one thing that I think is going to be able, just by some of these signings and whatnot, you bring in Stevens, who had a down year last year, but is young and has some upside, right? You bring in Cisco, who I think is a great player, had statistically, a little bit of a down season last year. Definitely has got some upside. You got a defensive coordinator, you got a head coach, you got a defensive coordinator who are both defensive backs. You have arguably, maybe not one of the best, but a really high quality player from our generation, GreenBean, and Dre Bly, who's now coaching them up. I feel very much so comfortable that, listen, the defense is still a work in progress, and I think with one more year, you can probably get the type of guys that you want to run the scheme that you want. Right? We're gonna let up some points this year. We are going to let up some points this year for sure. I would focus rather on bringing in and solidifying the offense, bringing in another weapon, filling the tight end room, maybe even add another running back. Who knows? I may get freaky on it. Another offensive lineman or two. I would focus that area and really make that my priority in the draft. Give your young offensive coordinator all the resources he needs to get off the ground running. And then let your expertise and the years and years of coaching knowledge you have work with these younger guys and get them developed so that they can elevate their game.
Yeah. All right. Well said. Well said. Guys, we got 261 in the house, 143 likes. Go ahead and squeeze those milk dumbs for me. Smash the like button if you would be so kind. It's the easiest damn thing you can do in the whole wide world, except for hitting the subscribe button. That's even easier, I heard. So go ahead and do that. And then now, look, I asked, Phil Adams said that when talking about David Bruce's comment that he's only 4 hours ahead, he said, we're 4 hours ahead. Let me see where it was. He said, we're 4 hours for the next 2 weeks, then back to 5 hours. I said, why? So this is what he said, Dom. Our summertime clock move is always 3 weeks after you in the USA. The sun rises slower over here. Okay, so they don't switch the clocks the same day we do. Who knew? I didn't know that. I thought we were all on the same page. What are you going to do? Rex Ryan, I don't know if you guys know this. Rex watches every show. So it's nice to have him aboard. He says, prediction time. Jets fans will talk themselves into bringing back Wilson by week 13. Book. You mean Zach Wilson? He's on the Miami Dolphins, Rex Ryan. You got to pay attention out there, coach. What do you think, Gunny? You think Jets fans are going to be clamoring for Zach Wilson because Justin Fields sucks so bad? What do you think?
That's going to be a hard pass for me. And I would assume that's like 90% of the fan base. Listen, hold on. It looks like maybe Dom is one of the 10% that would miss Zach Wilson, because I'm sorry, you raised your hand, so I don't know if that was you saying like you're one of the 10%.
Oh, he's saying, yeah, I love Zach. I miss him.
I love
him. That's what I thought he was doing too. Yeah, no, I don't think that's gonna be the case at all. I think what it boils down to, Zach Wilson and Justin Fields, if they were the exact same player, Justin Fields actually brings an elite trait to the game in terms of his elite athleticism, where Zach Wilson's just a good athlete. It's a big difference in that component. And you also saw improvements in Justin Fields' play every single season he played in the league, whereas you didn't see that with Zach Wilson. I don't understand the comparison between Zach and Justin Fields being the same guy, or how Zach Wilson could be better. But I guess it's just, people haven't watched Justin Fields or talking more so about his stat lines. But yeah, no, gonna be a no for me, big dog. I don't think that's gonna be the case for the majority of Jets fans. Maybe there's the 10% that are still the Zach sexuals, and they're gonna be upset because they miss Zachy Poo, but that's not gonna be the norm. I don't think so, Rex.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm with Gunny on that one there, Mr. Rex Ryan. We love you and all, but maybe that's why you don't have a job in the NFL, shit like that. What was I just going to say? Oh, yeah, Danger Zone, our buddy Dano, his new channel, relatively new anyway. He's already got 119 friggin' videos. I don't know how he did that so fast, but his link to his channel is in the pinned at the top of the comment section. Show Dano some love, if you wouldn't mind. Give his Danger Zone a follow, a subscribe, if you will. Dano, let me know how many it gets. Let me see if we have a little impact today. That'd be nice. David Bruce checking back in from the great land of Scotland says, I'm 60-year-old, retired from the British Army after 32 years of service and been a Jets fan, I think, a junior fan since 1978. That's also turns out to be 32 years too. I'm old. All right. Well, there you go. You only got me by 8 years, David. So, shit, man. It just happens, Gunny. It just happens. You can't fucking do anything about it. You can do anything you want. The clock keeps ticking, buddy. So you end up, right? One day you're 20. Remember when Gunny, how old are you, bud?
I'm 40 years old.
So Gunny's 40 years old. Remember when you were like 20 years old and you thought 30, holy shit, I'm old.
Yep.
Remember?
I do remember that.
You look back at 30, you're like, I didn't even know what the fuck I didn't even know who I was.
Nope.
30.
I was still trying to figure out life.
Yeah, man. At 30 years old, I was literally bouncing around from projects to projects, finding the best, finest heroin I could, and working landscaping jobs and pressure cleaning jobs and doing that shit at 30 years old. So, man, I didn't. I'm 52 and I'm just starting a business. I'm like, Jesus. So anyway, David, we're happy you're with us. You're not old at all, buddy. You're 60. When you're 80, you're going to look back and go, holy shit, was I young at 60? That's what you're going to do. So we love having you here. Tampa Jets fan, my buddy, Tampa Pete, I like to call him, checking in, everybody. Says, Dom, this one's for you, Dom. Mm-hmm. After combines, mocks, rumors, first few days of free agency, could Tet fall to us at 7? Also, is our streak of off-season champs coming to an end? Dom, what do you think about all that? You think, realistically, do the Patriots pass on Ted and whoever else? Is Ted there at 7? And what do you think about our off-season champ moniker?
I think Ted is. I've always thought Ted was in play at 7. I never really saw him going forward to the Patriots, so on and so forth. So could Ted be there at 7? Yes. Is there a chance that Ted could even drop lower? Could he drop into to not even being the first wide receiver taken off the board? Also, yes. Listen, his skill set is not going to be high on the board for everyone. He's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. You have to have an offense that is okay with having a guy that's not, that's going to be void of some of those short area, twitchy, quick move kind of stuff. That's just not his game. And which is fine. I'm not saying what he does is bad, similar to, I'm not comping him. I know people do it, but like when Drake London came out, right? There was a lot of people that Drake London, everyone was just like, he was okay. He ended up being the first receiver taken off the board.
Crazy.
And at 9, and Garrett Wilson went next at 10, but that skill set isn't going to fit every single offense, right? So could he be there at 7? Yes. Would I consider him at 7? Yes. Do I think there's a chance that he's not the first wide receiver taken? Also, yes. So there's a wide range for him right now. I probably starts at 7 and probably goes down to somewhere around Denver at 20, I'd say.
20. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, real quick, just on that, and then I'll let you answer the second piece. You guys think any chance Travis Hunter slides?
No.
No chance.
No chance. He'll be gone by pick 3.
Best player in the draft.
Yeah.
Second best player.
Who's your top?
Abdul Carter. Yeah.
Really?
Abdul Carter's
Okay.
better.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. So, what do you think? Is our off-season champ ring? Is our trophy up for grabs?
You know what? I hope so.
Same here.
I hope so.
Right.
You
I
gotta
hope it's ripped away from us.
Yeah, change
Yeah.
something, right? Like we've been the off-season champs for like the past 13 years. What has it gotten us?
Nothing.
Got us the off-season champ reward. So let's try something different. Let's try
Now, is
something
this
different.
right? Did Aaron Rodgers just get signed for $49 million? Is that accurate?
I know him and the Steelers were in conversation. Steelers offered him a contract earlier today, and he
Saw
told
that.
them that he would get back to them. So maybe it's accurate.
Let's see. Steelers urged to ditch Aaron Rodgers. Let's see. Should Pittsburgh? Yeah. There's no news. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you want? Here's a fun little fact, guys. I want to know if this changes anything. Brandon Stevens, our new New York Jet, is listed on the New York Jets website as a free safety.
Who is it?
Brandon Stevens.
Interesting.
He was a safety that converted last year to cornerback.
And what's this? Frankie from Flatbush was talking about he's much better in man
Yes.
than he is in zone, and the Ravens had him playing zone last year predominantly. So that could be a major reason why he, had such a piss poor season, 66 catches, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Imagine we talked about, like, we get pissed at Sauce for giving up 12 catches in a year. And it's like, this guy gave up 66.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Any truth to that, you think? The man.
Listen, absolutely. Why do you think Brandon Eccles is not here? Brandon Eccles not here because he's primarily a zone cornerback. Now, he did fill in admirably at the nickel spot where, you're asked to do a little bit more. But he's predominantly a zone cornerback. DJ Reed, predominantly a zone cornerback. Those guys are great. But they're just not going to be scheme fits to what Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilkes want to do.
All right. So so he's listed on our website as a free safety. Could you imagine that?
Which he was.
So we come out of the gate and really kind of covertly just fill the safety position. But isn't like Cisco is more of a free safety too?
I mean, listen.
A little bit of a thump to him, but
yeah, you're right. He does play that single high more often. But the days of truly segregated free safety and strong safeties are gone. There are guys that are better at one than the other, but most of these guys play, the safety position is very multiple. You're asked to play in the box, you're asked to play a little bit, in zone coverage. This scheme is going to rely on very, 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 very skilled man coverage at the safety position, covering slots, covering tight ends, covering so on and so forth. Which is why I think Andre Cisco is a great fit, which is why if they play Brandon Stevens there, which is why I think they decided to keep Tony Adams. For all Tony Adams' detriments, he's a very good man coverage safety. He's very good in man coverage. So interesting.
I don't know, that shakes up my opinions a little bit, Gunny. Does that,
same here.
do anything for you?
Yeah, identifying him as a free safety, the man-to-man concept in regards to how he actually performs at a better rate. And I didn't realize last year he played predominantly in the zone. That to me wasn't registering. Man, okay.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. Now we're on to something, everybody. Mooj is a wizard. Maybe that's what it is. I want to say, because we're talking about age, one of my absolutely most beloved supporters, the great Harry W., checking in with his 24-month. What are you doing?
I did that by accident. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did.
There we go.
Sorry.
No, you're all right. Now, as long as you don't do, where was it? Do this one. Hold on. Remember this one? Where the hell did it go? Where is it, Dom? Wait, style. There it is. Man, as long as you don't do this one. Wait.
Oh,
I hate this one.
It's so bad. It's like because it also zooms you in. Like just leave it where it is and let us kind of be in the note. It goes,
I'm over here. I
yeah.
gotta move.
Like, hi everybody, welcome to the show. That's not what we want.
I'm not a fan.
No, not at all. I'll drop it back to this. I'm liking this one. You prefer it over this? I feel like we're too small. I do like the shape of this, but we're so small. So
I like
this
the other
one, because I definitely don't like this. This one, I just don't like it. So this one I feel is like a good, nice in between.
This is perfect in between. Yeah.
Isn't it nice? All right,
Yeah,
good.
I
We all
concur.
agree. But Harry says being 70 is a reality check. LOL. Just hope I make it to see our Jets in a Super Bowl. Harry, you're gonna do it, buddy. Aaron Glenn and Mooj are the dudes. They're gonna do it. It might not be this year. You might have to be 73, but you're gonna make it. Harry's got lots of life in them their bones, buddy. He's fucking still smoking meats and shit. So Harry's the best.
It's gonna happen.
I love Harry. Right. So all right. Let me see. I had a David Bruce check back in. Says it was serving in Iraq and Afghanistan that won it for me. That's the other guy's channel, so I can subscribe to them. My hats off to the other guy's channels, so I can subscribe to all of them. Yeah, there you go. Well, listen, Gunny and Dom's channel links are right in the description of this video. So don't forget to give them some love, guys, of course. And then we got all the guys are in there. I got Jeremy in there. I got Tigo and Frankie. All the guys that help the channel are in there. Gunny and Dom are up top, so you can support them. But then also we got our buddy Dano. His channel Danger Zone is linked to the top of the description. Please show him some love tonight as well. So yeah, David Bruce, it's the best. You guys are amazing. I still am tickled by the fact that you guys way over there across the pond are so diehard for this shitty damn team. So, like, believe me when I tell you, that's not lost on me. I genuinely appreciate you guys. Now, if we go to London, I think we're going to be going to London this year again. I really hope my business takes off and I can just pull that off. Yeah. Dom had a great time last year, didn't he?
It really was a great. The game sucked. The game was awful. Walking away from Tottenham Stadium.
That was painful.
It was a long walk. Yeah, because they do it different there. The stadium is like in a dead end, right? And then they close off all the roads, so you can't get an Uber, you can't get whatnot. We must have walked fucking 5 miles until we finally got to a place where we hopped on the bus. You know, we must have walked 2 hours before we were able to get on a bus. But the experience was wonderful. My wife's already saying, can't wait to go back. You know, we were hoping that the Jets got the game in Ireland. We were going to go if it was in Ireland, her and I, but they're back at Tottenham and they're against the Browns, from what I understand. It's not going to be a very exciting one.
Well, but I want to go. You know what I'll do? So, you know, our buddy Phil Adams, who's in the chat right now, also gave us the Jets Jack, which you can't really see in this.
You know what? I tried to look, and I didn't know that Phil, that there was, those were, I was looking, when I was in London, I was looking all over for those Jacks, those Jet Jacks.
Well, no, they don't exist.
I know. I found out after the fact.
Oh, no.
I was looking all over them because obviously around that time you can find a lot of, you know, football, NFL related memorabilia. And I was asking everyone.
And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Phil designed and made that himself. So I believe there are only 6 in existence. You got one, Gunny? Or you got the other one? You're muted again. I don't know why you keep muting. What's going on over there?
I don't know why. Maybe it's doing it automatically. I sure do. I was just trying to show it off.
Yeah, I saw you movement. There it is.
On the wall right there.
Oh, yeah, you got that one. So that's the one.
And I also got the towel that you're holding in your hand.
Yeah, so I believe there's only, the Jets Jack is a little bit different than the one you have. I believe there's only 6 in existence. I just got word that Braden from New Zealand received one from the great Phil Adams. So it's the only Jets Jack in the Southern Hemisphere. Isn't that great to know? But yeah, he also sent this beautiful thing. Let me move my mic here. See this one? So Gunny, you got this one?
I sure do.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. This is soft too. I don't want to use it, of course, but
Yeah, I don't. I have it purely as, I'm saying, memorabilia here in the studio.
and then Phil sent me this one. This is
that was from the game. That was from the game. They were
this is from the game.
Yeah.
Tottenham.
I got one for my son.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love this thing. I wore it in the winter. I was like, it's beautiful. I mean, it's legit. You know what I mean? It's not just some piece of fucking novelty Jets garb. This is actually real stuff. So Phil's the best. But let's see what else we got here. Danger Zone checking in. Odds that Cisco takes a Kirby-like leap to 9 interceptions. Anybody, either one of you guys can answer that one. Any chance for Cisco to take a leap?
He's got 9 interceptions in his career in his 4 years.
He had 4 last year, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know how many he had last year. But listen, 9 in a year might be a little much. But
yeah,
I will say this: I like the skill set of Andre Cisco, and I'm expecting a big rebound. Statistically he was down last year, but I think it was because the defense that was all around him just crumbled. Like, it's hard for a single post safety to make that much of a difference alone when everything else is crumbling around you. So, I'm expecting a big rebound for him.
Nice. Yeah, no, I actually really like that signing.
Yeah.
I'd love it to have been 2 years, but it is what it is. It's fine. But that'll be interesting. I love this idea of Stevens and Cisco being our safeties. That does something to me. It changes everything. E-Boogie checking in, another one of my faves. I hang out with E-Boogie every time we get together for our beanbagger Wednesday night. E-Boogie's always there. Harry's always there. Eric Craig's always there. Alan Doge is always there. Crossfire is always there. It's the best. So E-Boogie says, is Cisco or Stevens a ball hawk safety?
Oh, Cisco is. Stevens, like I said, I don't know much about him. I know he played outside last year. I know he was a safety at SMU. He went to Southern Methodist, which is around your neck of the woods, right? Isn't that outside of Houston, Gunny?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that.
Nice. Well, and E-Boogie's got another one for us. He says, how much do these signings affect the draft? What do you think? So, look, a lot of it's depth, right? You look at Okafor, he's depth, even though he started last couple of years. Myers is depth, even though he started last couple of years. Guys like, obviously Cisco and Stevens, like we're talking about, but even, the defensive tackles. Like, how much does this really impact our draft, Dom? What do you think?
Not much at all. The draft picks that I think could get affected, like positionally. I think quarterback. I think middle linebacker, and maybe safety. And I'll say this: 1-year contracts should not deter any team from drafting a position of need, because 1-year contracts do not fill position that they plug holes.
Right.
They're not long-term depth.
Good point.
So, yeah.
Good point. Jeremy, I almost called you Jeremy, Gunny. I'm terribly sorry. I apologize.
The resemblance is uncanny. I understand.
Yeah, I tell you, man. Jeremy looking good these days, dude. He lost a whole bunch of weight. His fucking head. I like his head being round. Now it's all thin.
He's getting definition to his freaking jaw. And I was like, what's going on? What's going on with this?
He's looking sharp. Nick Shine trimming up his beard, shaving his head. Everybody's on to something. Maybe a summer's coming, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is.
Getting their summer bods ready.
Yeah, that's what it is. But, Gunny, do you agree with Dom? You think that these signings, impact the draft in any way or not? Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I'm definitely with Dom on this one. I don't think this impacts the draft much in terms of the targets you were looking at before you made these signings and what you're doing now. I don't think quarterback was actually ever on the board. I know a lot of individuals were speculating that they were going to go for Cam Ward and what. I don't think quarterback was ever on the board. I think they were going to go with a veteran component to bring into the building to go ahead and kind of be that bridge situation for this season. And the rest of these picks, again, like Dom said, they're 1-year guys. They really aren't going to move the needle in terms of it strays you from your guy when you go to this draft. So I think the strategy still remains the same. They have the strategy, whatever it might be, before the free agency period started, and I think it's still intact. Anybody who thought we were going to get Cam Ward, I wasn't one of those individuals. I didn't think the Jets were going to trade up to go get Cam Ward. I didn't think Shedeur Sanders was being taken seriously. I didn't think Jackson Dart was going to go number 7. Will they wind up getting a guy maybe in the 5th or the 6th if one of the QBs is still there that they think to themselves, why not bring them in? Yeah. But in terms of impacting key positions in terms of this draft, no, I don't think these signings have moved the needle one way or another in regards to what the draft's going to look like for the Jets.
Yeah, and I like the way Dom said that too earlier. Like, a 1-year contract should definitely not preclude you from taking that position. I mean, even if your plan is, if he plays well, we're going to re-sign him, whatever, dude, still 1-year contract shouldn't stop you from doing anything. And look, quite frankly, there's nothing wrong with having a pipeline. You know what I mean? So
you should. I mean, you say that all the time because you are the comp pick whore.
I love them.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But how do you get? I mean, how does one get to really utilize the comp pick equation?
That's right.
That you have to build a pipeline of depth so that when GreenBean is, up for his contract's up and he's up for big money, I got Gunny waiting in the wings to say, okay, right. GreenBean, listen, thank you for your time. Kick rocks. I just got a 5th rounder, and I'm going to start this big 30-year-old lug nut right here named Gunny Gumby.
There you go. I love how he put that. Love nut. You don't hear that every day.
Lug nut.
Oh, I think he said love nut. I'm like, ooh, I like that.
Hey, I heard love nut too for some reason.
Real quick, just to let you know, I just happened to be on Over the Cap. Some of the new contracts are being put out.
Okay. Let me say hello to Gator first. Gator, what's up, man? Good to see you. Do I have to be
a Gator?
Fan? I don't think you have to be.
I mean, we'd appreciate it, but you don't have to be a Jets fan.
Yeti says Gator's a closet Jags fan. That's what it is. He found a nice niche here, so he's like, I'll hang out with these losers for a little while. Good to see you, Gator. All right, Dom, who you got up on deck for us?
So Jamie Sherwood, we 3 years, 45
Want to share your
million?
screen?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Share your screen. We'll talk about this on the back end.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Bing bong boodle.
You got to change the look.
Yeah, oh yeah, right on. Good catch.
No.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Oh, right here. Boom, boom. So if you look here, he's only $5 million under the cap this year. And in essence, this is a 2-year deal. It's 2 years. He's getting paid $5 million, and then he's getting paid $11.5 million next year. If they wanted to, the Jets could get out of this in 2027. They take some cap hit, which is about what I'm looking at, about 14, but they'd free up about 16. So if it goes absolutely down south, there is an out before this 3rd year hits. So it's interesting that it's only 5 years this year, or $5 million this year.
I like how his cap number is $0 in 2029. That's good. I'd keep him for that.
Yeah. So I thought that's interesting. Justin Fields. People are talking about $40 million, too much money. It's not really a $40 million deal. He's only guaranteed 15 plus the signing bonus 30. So it's really a 2-year, $30 million deal.
Yeah, not terrible. And his cap number this year is $8 million. So not
and even and if it works out or if it doesn't, he's on the contract for next year at $23 million, which would still put him in the bottom 3rd of quarterbacks. So that's not expensive. You got a great deal this year at $8 million on the cap. And if it works out, you got an even better deal at $23 million out. And if it doesn't, you're going to be paying a rookie quarterback no money. So having a $23 million backup ain't no thing. You know what I mean?
I like it. It's not as bad as you think. We all get so huffy puffy.
They are they're freeing up a lot of money. They're saving a lot of money now. I'm wondering if that is in tune with one of the extensions where maybe they'll give some more money in front load a little bit.
Well, I think it's all in preparation for cutting Greg the leg. That's what I think.
I was looking for someone. I came on here looking for somebody. Oh, here is this
Let's
bastard
look at
right
the new
here.
guys. Yeah,
Let's look.
Clemens.
No, Michael Clemens. You're telling me you're going to
Ooh,
pay
he
him?
got a 3.5.
He
Wow,
got
You
a
gotta
play.
be kidding
big
me.
deal. No, that's big.
He got
That's big.
he got a kick up for playing time. His contract went from 1.9 to 3.597.
No.
It's $191,000 in dead money, but we can free up 3.5 million. There's no
He's got
guarantee
it.
Michael
Okay,
that
that
Clemens
changes
bum.
is
everything.
Yeah.
Cut that
That-
bum. Cut him yesterday.
That changes literally everything. I
There
wasn't
is-
aware of the 3.5. I thought he was still less than 2. But like you said, cutting him, you get a small, less than $200,000 dead cap, and you save 3.4. I'm surprised he's still here.
Well, I mean, he will. Again, they need bodies, right?
Yeah.
So this
still.
is one that this is one that they know that they can hold in their pocket. If they're negotiating with
They need
somebody, after the draft, and they need an extra $2-3 million, be like, all right, you know what? We'll give you the $3 million and just kick Michael Clemens to the road. So
that changes everything for me. It's like finding out Stevens might be a safety. I'm having a whole shift of perspective. This is a great show for me. I'm liking this. Very interesting.
You talked about Greg the Leg now.
Yeah,
GreenBean.
this guy sucks.
Yeah,
Gotta
so
go.
they could cut him, and
Look at his fucking contract. For
Yeah.
God's sakes.
they got all this void money tied into this kicker.
Jesus.
He's on the books for $4.7 million this year, right? And if he's well, you can't cut him post June, but if you cut him now, you're
saving. Yeah,
now-
you're saving 2.4, but still, look at
you're
the next
taking
4
2.3.
years.
Yeah,
Jesus.
you're paying Greg the Leg. He's going to be the kicker this year, guys. I hate to tell you.
Oh my God.
And then next year, and then next year when you cut him, you this all kind of moves up to the dead cap, and you call it a day here. So we're paying Greg the Leg in essence $5.6 million over the next how many years to be the kicker this year.
I just can't believe. Muji came in. He's like, let me see what my contracts look like. When he got to this one, he said, what the fuck is this? Are you kidding me?
Here's another one. Where is it? Here's another one. And this is a guy we brought in. Actually, I'll show you two. This is the guy we brought in that no one ever talked about. Andrew Beck. They list him as a tight end, although he's a fullback, H-back type. This money here that they gave him, there's nothing guaranteed in it other than this $167,000. So Andrew Beck is no lock for the roster, although supposedly this was one of the first moves Muji talked about making, and it was. He sees the value in him as a blocking.
I hate it.
Back, tight end, fullback type.
Fuck out of here.
So-
Fullback. I'm so sick of it.
Since when are you sick of fullbacks?
Listen, if you're gonna have a full, here's my philosophy. Number one, they're really low impact. I'm not into it. But if you're gonna do it, have an actual fullback. I don't love, my tight end plays fullback. I just don't like it. It rarely works. It rarely has an impact, whether it's been Ruckert or it's been who was the guy I'm thinking of a couple years back? We were doing whatever. It's like you see them, they line up in the eye, they run through the hole, and they fucking do nothing. I'm so sick of it. Like, I'd just rather have designated roles. I just don't like it, man. It just doesn't do anything for me. And that, like, I don't like just having purely blocking tight ends anyway, because I happen to know, I'm not sure if you guys are in on this, but I happen to know that there are guys out there that can block and catch. I don't know if you guys were aware of that. How about the new guys, Dom? Gunny, you got to hop off, bud.
Yeah, I got to jump off. I got another show, a veteran presence show that I agreed to do after the Thursday thick of it. I mean, I got some time. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, then just give me the nod. We're going to go a few minutes over if that's okay. But just, give me the nod when you need to bounce.
Yeah, so here are the 5 guys that we signed, but none of their contracts have been updated. So I got nothing. Yet on Chuka. Is it Chukwuma Okorafor? I don't even know.
Well, I like to call. I mean, when he came out, I was calling him Okafor, so I'm just sticking with that. Okafor.
Okafor.
Okafor. Yeah. Fuck it. I'm saying Okafor until somebody.
Okay4.
Yeah, there you go. So, real quick, Jason Taylor, or I'm sorry, Jay Taylor, coming in says Stevens is listed as a cornerback on the Jets app now. Well, now my feelings changed all the way back.
You jinxed it, Dom.
I'm telling you.
All the way back.
We're back full circle.
Damn it. What a show. This show sucks. Well, we still have the other one. What was the other one we were talking about?
Yamin.
Who was it?
Yamin?
No, but remember we were talking. There was something else that shifted my perspective. I was having a good day.
Michael Clemens.
Oh, right. Now maybe we can get rid of Michael Clemens.
$3.5 million you can free up by
Good. That's a lot.
Clemens.
I like how you said it, though. We can put it in our back pocket. It's like he's not expensive, so we'll see how we can, if we can get somebody in here, or like you said, we're making a trade or we want to sign somebody and we need that extra money. It's in our back pocket. He goes, it's $191,000 dead cap. Think about that. It's about a tenth of what Zerlines is. I can't deal.
Right. And listen, I know he's not a Jet anymore, so we got to move on. But guys, maybe you talked about it before. Can you believe what Javon Kinlaw got paid?
Dude, it's unbelievable.
That's insane to me.
Like, it would be one thing if he had even a year that it looked like he was about to pop, but the stats didn't represent it. Dude, he looked like somebody who was overmatched most of the time. Now, he had his plays. He had a smattering of really nice impact plays, but few and far between, dude. I mean, he looked like a guy that's like, oh, yeah, this guy depth at best. And they gave him 3 years, $45 million.
30 guaranteed.
That's gross.
That was absolutely
gross. We paid him 7.5 last year. And look, listen, full disclosure, I was excited. I thought that he was going to be the next guy lined up that Quinnen that was going to really be able to benefit from him. And he didn't have a good season.
No.
He had some flashes, he made some plays, but all in all, net negative. And
negative.
And we paid him 7.5 and people were freaking out. They doubled that. They quadrupled that guaranteed.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's like, look, and that's the big one. But honestly, I was surprised Reddick got that much. I thought he'd be more in the 10 million range because he had a piss poor year. Now you can justify it by saying, well, look, he didn't play the first, half and change of the season. So, he wasn't in football shape. We know what Hassan Reddick is. He had a down year for a down team. Like you can justify it, but I was still a little surprised that it was that high. And Morgan Moses, but in a positive way, it's like, look, the guy is he's such a good guy, good mentor, plays through injury, the whole thing. The Jets were offering him 5.5 for 1 year. That's the rumor. And he goes and he finds a place to give him 3 years, 24, I think it was, with like 15 guaranteed. Like, good for him. I hate that it's a Patriot. I hate all that shit. But I was still surprised to see him get that much. Maybe 2 years, like 12 million, that kind of a thing. But anyway, I was surprised by. That's why I was so excited about the comp pick stuff in the early going. I'm like, holy shit. Like, if we just hold off a little while and not sign bottom of the roster guys in this window, we might have something here. And we've all but swallowed that up. I mean, right now we have a 4th round for Reddick. And look, if we don't sign anybody to that, that on that tier, we might go into next year with a free 4th. That'd be delightful.
Yeah.
Tampa Pete checking in says, quick poll. What sucks more as a fan? Jets, Jags, or Browns? I'm going to answer this one and then I'll bounce it to you. I don't even think it's comparable. I don't even think it's in the same stratosphere. The Jags and Browns have both had the number 1 pick in the last 10 years. I don't want to. They can suck, but they suck right. We don't even know how to suck right. That alone, and none of their quarterbacks had their jaw broken in their own locker room. So there's that too. Butt fumble, everything else. So I think it's the Jets by a mile. Gunny, where do you land?
1,000%. It's not even close. To me, the Jets are it's the most painful fan. Like, it's the most painful fan base, right? We've been hit so hard in ways you guys can't even imagine. Even when we think things are going right for us, somehow, some way, the football gods have decided, like, no, everyone thought you guys were good. You had the critics telling you that this was your year. You had Aaron Rodgers, a guy who was coming off of back-to-back MVP seasons. Like, you were one quarterback. Everything you could possibly think that can go wrong for the Jets, it always goes wrong. Think about this. 4 plays into the season that should have been 4 plays in. Torn Achilles, our quarterback gone for the season. That only happens to us. That only happens to the Jets. It sucks to be a Jets fan. It's painful, but we're the most loyal fan base there is, and we keep pumping money into this organization. This is why they're the 4th most valuable franchise in the NFL. As bad as they've been to us, we've been great to them. So, yes, it sucks being a Jets fan.
It's the only business in the world not named health insurance that can suck and fail every single year and still grow tenfold. It's amazing. Well, what he's done, I mean, I'm telling you, he's going to go down in the history books as one of the most brilliant businessmen on earth just because of this shit. What else we got? Let me see who's talking in here. Well, I wanted to complete my list of free agents here. So we got Okafor, who we didn't really talk about too much. Dom, real quick, Gunny and I, we were talking about most of these guys. Depth, or is he the solution at tackle?
No, I don't think he's the solution. I think maybe he'll be given an opportunity to challenge a rookie for the job and let the best man win. But until you see the contract, you can't really determine what it is. If they went and paid him, $10-12 million, then I'd say maybe he's pushing for a starter job.
Right. So I agree. How about the last one that we'll talk about is Rashad Weaver, the pass rushing specialist with 5.5 sacks in 2 years. What do you think? Gunny, I'll bounce it to you first and then spit it over to Dom.
Is it Rashad Weaver?
Yeah, the defensive end from the Titans.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know much about him. I'm assuming this is going to be more of a depth piece, right? You got JJ coming back. You got Will McDonald, who had a breakout season this past year. Definitively a depth piece. But in this sense, if you're going to go ahead and bring a guy in who's a speed rusher, it looks like predominantly, to go ahead and spell, a JJ or a Will when need be. You can't argue it. We need some more depth pieces, as we've all stated several times now, in regards to the defensive line and a couple of other parts of the offense and defense. So it's a depth signing, right? Does he wind up making the roster when it's all said and done? That's the hope, right? That he does just enough. But I don't know him well enough to go ahead and give an educated thought process on his play style.
Yeah. The only thing I remember is that he came out, and that year that he came out, there was 2 defensive ends from Pitt. There was Weaver and there was Jones, I think the other kid. He got drafted by Minnesota. I don't remember much about him. I don't remember this guy. I actually looked back to see if I still had my draft list and my scouting reports, but I got a new computer, so I don't.
Well, let me point this out. The year he had 5.5 sacks, excuse me, was under Vrabel. Right. So under Vrabel, he had that really good year, 5.5 sacks and some pressures and good tackles and all that. And then they changed the coaching staff, and he has, a lesser staff, let's say, and he has a down year. The idea that this staff is going to be good, that's what we got to bank on right now, right? Yeah. Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilkes, and the rest. So the idea that coaching matters, that could be a situation where Weaver coming here actually might be a solid, like Gunny said, rotational piece. Come in and spell these guys and actually be able to have an impact. Maybe it's not the worst signing in the world. I'll admit, just like Gunny said, I'm not necessarily following this dude's career. Anything I spit out is largely what I'm reading now about him. It's not my knowledge base where I'm pulling this shit from, admittedly. But that is an interesting thing. With bona fide good coaching, he did well.
Yeah.
With a little bit lackluster, maybe, the jury's still out coaching, not so good. So maybe he comes here, and if this coaching staff is worth the shit, maybe we got something for cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the worst thing. So, all right, let me just check and see if I missed any super chats and all that jazz. I got E-Boogie, I got Jay Taylor, I got Tampa Pete in the house. But yeah. All right. Well, look, man, I'll admit I'm a little excited. You know, I mean, look, it's different, right? And so it's uncomfortable. But it's so, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know how to handle it. Like, what the hell's going on? We're overpaying for this. I don't like this guy. What's going on? Who's this fucking guy? You signed 2 defensive tackles. I don't know either one of them. What's happening? Justin Fields, what is this? I get it. But the truth is that I'm enjoying a little bit of freshening up. I am already aware that Devontae Adams is going to be an amazing receiver for the Chargers, right? Or the Rams, I'm sorry. Correct. And I'm already aware that Aaron Rodgers is going to light it up for a very, very solid organization in the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's just, dude, they're well run. He's just going to go in there. He's going to settle right in. He got the Achilles rebound year, behind him. So just brace yourselves. I'm aware of it. Plus, they're going to put us on Monday Night Football against the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Fields. We did the quarterback flip. You know it's coming. And just so you know, I think it was Jake that said it on the Monday Night Mock. Prepare for it. Aaron Rodgers is throwing 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, 350. So it just happened. It's going to, whether or not we win, I don't know, but that's what's going to happen. And Justin Fields is going to pull 166, 1 touchdown and a pick. That's what it's going to be. That's what, just know it, because that's our lot in life. You got to, if you know going in, it's a little bit softer when it happens. A little bit. It helps a little bit. Dom, what do you got coming up, my friend?
I got some good content coming out over the next couple weeks, actually, as we are just weeks away from the NFL draft. Got an episode with Devin Jackson from the Philadelphia Inquirer, draft expert extraordinaire. Will Parkinson's going to be on? I got a bunch of stuff in the hopper. Getting ready to talk about Jets draft. Full bore.
Full go. Now, right, once free agency kind of settles down, we're all in on the NFL draft.
That's it.
I love it. Good shit, Dom. So again, Dom's channel, the link out, not only his channel, his Twitter, both the same thing for Gunny. Link is in the description of the video. Don't forget to show some love. Gunny, what do you got, my friend?
Got the hangout on Tuesday night. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about more of the same pretty much, man. Free agency, see what that looks like, start gearing towards more about the draft. I'm going to go ahead and start having some invitations to some individuals so we can do a couple of mock drafts on the show. So yeah, catch me on the hangout on Tuesday night. Dom, you know that invite's coming, so be on standby.
All right, we're going to end this poll. Who's your favorite free agent? And Gunny's links are in the description as well, guys. So don't forget to show.
Gotta jump off, boys.
Yeah. All right. Get out of here.
Okay.
Good luck
boys,
on the next stream.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Good night, guys.
Let me see. So I ended the poll. Let's see what we got over here. Who's your favorite free agent thus far? Fields came in with 64%, Tom. Let me change this view now. Hold on. I can't do it. There we go. Fields with 64%, Cisco with 27%, Myers with 5%, and Stevens with a paltry 2% of
just
the vote.
2%, you sons of bitches.
Well, who knows? Who knows, right? If we do mess around with him at safety, I really like that idea. I hope that sticks. But if not, I like the idea that, hey, they had him playing zone and he's a man guy. Now I'll buy into that too. I subscribe.
I'll tell you this. I haven't watched, full disclosure, haven't really broken down any of his Baltimore film in the All-22 or whatnot. But I did watch game highlights. I'm going to tell you this, GreenBean. When you're bored one day, if the real world job gives you some free time, go watch Baltimore versus Cincinnati.
What year?
This past year. They put him
Chase.
On Chase, and he was like a gnat, man. He shut him down. So, interested, Now, did he get some bracket coverage over the top? Yes, blah, blah, blah. But maybe they see something that we don't, that didn't jive or didn't work in Baltimore. And maybe not. Maybe he's just the next coming of Tremaine Edmonds.
Tremaine Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah. Tremaine Edmonds is pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, I hear you. I was like, yeah, right. The fucking next failed experiment at cornerback. And the good news is we're locked into him for a few years. So there you go. if he sucks. That's always fun. Mitt Flair checking in to cap the show, Dom. I'm prepared for everything you said, Bean, and that's why I can't be excited. LOL, the pain is real. But I know, Mitt, we can still find the excitement. You just see, it's like weird. It's like we have this idea that I can't be excited without the disappointment, right? Or I can't be disappointed if I don't get excited. It's not necessarily true. We can be excited and then still have a measured approach to the expected results, which are disappointing. So I don't know. You can find that niche, man. You can do it. You can do it. I've been working on it for years. I'm okay. I do a better job, much better than I used to. I used to remember Dom and I come from the same town, and we have two bars on the main drag in our little 1 mile town. There's two bars. There's the Side Street Pub or Geraldine's, whatever the hell it's called now.
It's the yellow pepper now.
The yellow pepper. Holy macaroni.
I went to my parents the other day and I was like, what the hell is
Was
this?
it good?
I didn't go in.
They still have Capolini D'Angelo in the house?
I drove by and I said, what the hell is a yellow pepper?
Yeah, Lake Hiawatha don't even look like it. I don't even recognize it. But anyway, so when they were the Side Street Pub, they sponsored my flag football team. We were the Side Street Pub Rats, and we won a championship, and our trophy was in there. So I used to get kicked out of there every single Sunday. So we would go play football in the morning. We'd head over to the bar, and we'd drink and eat and do all this stuff, and the Jets would come on. And before halftime, the bartender would always even look right at me.
Brian?
No, not Brian. Remember Pat? He passed away.
No,
he was a proper bartender, man. But he would always
short Irish guy, red hair. No.
He was an old salt and pepper guy, furry mustache. I knew him for years, man. I used to work with him at the Villa Melise before the Side Street Pub used to be the Nest West, and before that, it was that little house. It was the Villa Melise, and I worked there washing dishes when I was 14. And Pat worked there, so I knew Pat like almost my whole life. But turned out he really didn't like me very much. But that's what I thought he loved me because I was a fucking drunk idiot. But every week, the owner just said, look, like you can't ban. My name was Kyle back then. He'd say, you can't ban him. Like number one, he's part of the football team. Number two, he fucking pours tons of money into this joint every single weekend. But I did get kicked out. I would get banned for the day. So literally what I would do every Sunday is I would go there. I'd play football. I'd go to the Side Street Pub. I'd eat, drink. The Jets would come on first quarter, second quarter. He'd be like, out. And I would drive down the street to the other bar, Box, and I would shit it up over there. And then Pat, when he was done with his shift, would come over and go, like every week, he'd go, when the fuck are you going to cut it? Like, you're not 16 years old, man. Like, when are you going to stop? And I was like, So I didn't know how to handle the pain. I got kicked out of Box, too, a couple of times. Like, enough of you. Get out. Like, the owner would come from the liquor store, Dom. He'd hear me. He'd go, are you again? You know, I'm like, everybody thought I had $10,000 on the game. I didn't even bet. I just gave a shit. So anyway, I didn't know how to do it, Mitt. But now, after fucking 6 rehabs and a whole bunch of shit, lots of therapy, I don't know. Anyway.
So just to let you know, like you said, you wouldn't even recognize the old stomping grounds. There is a sidewalk. Like a sidewalk in the middle of North Bevwick Road now. It's literally split by
in the middle.
There's like it's like a walkway. They got poles. They made North Bevwick Road like there's a divider that goes down the majority of North Bevwick Road, right from where Side Street Pub started, all the way down almost to where the Sunoco used to be. Now it's 7-Eleven.
Sunoco's 7-Eleven?
Yeah. Right next to the firehouse.
What's Ernie's Texaco? Like next to Grand Union?
Yeah, it's
which is Food Town, I think.
Which is Food Town now. Yeah, it's another gas station. I don't know what it is, man.
That's so crazy. I mean, back then, like we knew, like literally Ernie's Texaco. So it was like it was our friend's dad. Like the town was just so close knit. Like the whole town, we knew everybody. Knew everybody.
Yeah.
Now it's just not that way. I mean, I haven't been back there for real. I would go back. I went back a couple years ago to see my father who lived there, and like John Phillips's mother and all that shit. But like we were only there for like, I don't know, 2 hours kind of a thing. Like I don't recognize the place. It's the weirdest thing. But that all said, I am going to write you. I'm going to write my autobiography and send it to you first, Tampa Pete. So, but anywho, guys, I love you. I'll speak for Dom and tell you that he loves you as well. We are incredibly grateful for your time, your presence. We enjoy this very much. I want to ask you to hit that like button before you leave. Squeeze the milk thumb. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It is incredibly good thing to do, and I appreciate it. Dom's and Gunny's links are in the description. Please give them some love. And Dano's channel, Danger Zone, is pinned to the top of the chat. Don't forget to show him. He's one of us. He's been with us the whole time for years. Give him some love. For Infrared and Oregon Jets and Robbie Oak, that will be the end of our show. We will see you next time, everybody.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah!
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.